Okay, we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Another episode of the REMINGTOM podcast. And we've got an exciting one for you tonight. Make no mistake, the NBA Cup, they've moved to knockout rounds. Is the NBA Cup a double elimination? How does it I think tonight is win or go home. I think we've officially started the actual stakes part of the NBA Cup. And they're getting right to it, folks. The games are already in progress. Magic and the Bucks, excuse me, are playing right now. And the Bucks were going into the game as 7-point favorites, so we were jumping all over that. And right now, I believe they're down 7, or they were down 7. They're, I believe, losing at the moment here. We'll get a score update. We're coming back in from timeout right at the moment, but we've fired up they have the alternate broadcast, the NBA 2K datacast. And make no mistake, people, there's not a lot of data on the datacast. It's a little bit more 2K than it is actually data. It's not good, people. It's not good. I mean, it's a fun idea, but again, datacast, I just don't know who this is for, honestly, because again, it kind of blends the line of stat in 2K, because I don't know if those audiences are necessarily the same audience. Like 2K. Oh, jeez. I cut the mic right as I said that. Three, two, one. Okay, that's about as early as that's ever happened, people. Pause. Hey, yo. Hot start. But I feel like it's been a couple episodes since we unplugged the mic, so we're not doing too bad there. But yeah, the nerds aren't playing 2K. 2K is like I don't know, 2K. It's an NBA audience, People that are watching the NBA are watching 2K. So I get if you're maybe gearing it more towards the kids. So it is. I mean, they've got the little player icon. They've got a stamina bar as well, too, which is kind of crazy. Lillard's at about 80% right now, maybe about 75. Portis, his energy's wearing out, so that's kind of a fun feature. I don't know, do they have him wearing, like, Apple Watches? Are they testing the heart rate? Cole Anthony, are they going to have to sub him out? He's sprinting. I want to see somebody, like, go into a sprint and the stamina decrease even more. Maybe on a transition. Franz dunking it down. But the worst part is this is like, I mean, they are calling this the 2K25 datacast, of course, but these are like 2K07, 08, early 2000s, or I guess late 2000s, but still those were the early 2000s for us, make no mistake, but the late 2000s in years. It's more like the old-timey graphics. And it's that view that really nobody plays 2K on as well, especially nowadays. When we first got onto 2K, I can't remember. I would need to fire up an old 2K. Is the default camera angle I forget what it's even called too, skybox, but this like normal TV view where you're watching it and panning back and forth versus, the camera now, the 2K cam is looking straight on at the basket and then flipping around. But when we first started playing 2K, we used the view like this. So this is like, this is old school, like identically outside of the rosters, the 2Ks. This is basically Giannis with 2000s graphics. And make no mistake, there's not 4K capabilities on our screen right now either. So it looks even a little more 07 than it would on maybe the TV, but it is what it is. I like that they've got they're going all out again in that vibe. Maybe we need to watch 2K25 though, or play 2K25. Did they scale the graphics back? Are they simpler? But they've got the stars. They've got like AJ Green for the Bucks. He's got his little 3-point shooter icon. The icon for every white guy. Lopez, the perfect release on a 3. Did they just give him a perfect release? I assume if you make it, it's a perfect release. But again, in terms of the data, it's basically just the box score, Which a live box score on screen is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, that's fun. But still, you can get that at like a Buffalo Wild Wings or just looking at your phone. Like, I mean, I'm looking at my phone anyways. So make no mistake, Bleacher Report's open anyways. So we're just seeing the stats regardless of that. But there is a little live kind of shot chart in the corner. So that could be kind of fun. You can kind of see how the offenses are playing a little bit in real time. But also, I mean, you're watching the game. So I guess it's just a way to keep notes. But again, I don't know where it's geared to. And I feel like with the different audiences, you should lean in one way or the other. Is it more for the stats and the analytics fans? Because again, it's not just that like the stats and the analytics fans, the nerds, would be playing 2K, but you know, are the same people that would be tuning into a 2K broadcast. And I guess like we were saying earlier as well too, it would go back to the kids. We're just going in circles, chat, but it's a lot to process, the 2K datacast, make no mistake. It's a wild swing for the TNT, NBA, Max crew. I guess they just needed to give Jalen Rose a job. Is he even working this one? He was working a couple other ones. We saw him promoing for it, but we never actually turned it on. Pause. But I feel like the one time we did go to watch it, they didn't actually have the 2K graphics. It was just the stats. So it was like, again, you know, I'll just be checking those on my phone anyways. And it seems like, you know, when a guy's going on a run or something, you're like, oh, he's hit a couple of baskets in a row. I wonder how many points he's at now. You know, they'll give you the little pop-up. They'll show you where he's at. Like, the broadcast, they do a good job, people. They're national broadcasts for a reason. And they do a good job of keeping you informed. But, I mean, if you go to a game at, like, a stadium, they'll have the broadcast up on the box score, like, up on a Jumbotron sometime. Or, like, a side TV or whatever. So it's an additive feature in that way, but I don't know if adding like a feature that you could get just at a stadium environment is necessarily the most beneficial thing for like a TV additive experience. So if there is some kind of different advanced analytics that they would give you, because that is the nice thing about the Prime broadcast outside of just the different angle and sometimes tracking where the routes are going is there is, I mean, they know you're tuned into an advanced broadcast, and I guess we haven't watched the main one in a while, so maybe we'll throw it on and kind of see what the next-gen stats are looking like. But they do give you quite a few, it seems like, if you're there for the stat, like here's a stat, here's an analytic, here's kind of a situational thing. And they have the guy as well, too, that pops in with a stat every now and then. So, you know, he'll give you a pretty good, you know, little tidbit every now and then for sure. But they actually, again, are gearing it toward the advanced stats, and you're kind of there for that more in-depth knowledge. And I think if you want to do like a 2K broadcast, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I don't think people are going to watch basketball to just watch 2K. Like why would I just watch them play 2K? And like, I would just go play 2K, right? Like, it seems a little redundant, but still, if you want to try to do an alternate broadcast that way, because you're like, oh, this is, I guess, how this is the only way they can watch basketball now if it looks like a video game, then give it a shot. But actually lean into that, you know? They've got the little takeover stuff going. They'll if a guy hits like a drive, a layup on a drive, or like a floater, they're like, oh, he's got the floater badge activated or all that stuff. The thing that's a little crazy that they're doing right now is they have like the passing icons above the player's head. It's a little too much. Like, I don't need to see the PlayStation remote control hovering over the Orlando Magic while they're playing. I think you can pick and choose your elements. But still, let's see if Brook Lopez got no badge on that layup, just a simple layup. Suggs' energy is not going down as much. There's not apparently as much like sprinting, holding down the sprint trigger in real life as there is in a full-on 2K game. But I guess in 2K, you're sometimes running shorter quarters as well. Chat, how often do you run longer quarters in 2K? Is that default now? Am I not up to standard 2K code? Is it just 12-minute quarters just right away? Or was 8-minute just the old 2K default? Is that what everybody still runs on? Is Chris Smoove still running on YouTube? We'll check out a Chris Smoove video soon and get refreshed on what's going on with the new 2Ks. But, I mean, this is going to be pretty close, chat. This is going to be pretty close. And if they're using Unreal Vision Engine or whatever that video game thing is that Microsoft is using, I don't know if you saw those clips, chat, of... Was it a new Halo game or a Call of Duty game? One of those iconic first-person shooter franchises. Shout out for all the dogs. But one of those new games that are going to be released is using that Unreal Engine, which Sam obviously knows more about. Is Carl Towns calling into the alt broadcast? Oh, here we go. Kirk Goldsberry, Jalen Rose, Vince Carter, Adam Lefkoe. Okay. Solid squad, for sure. We'll hang out with the guys. It's a fun time. And Carl Towns, if this group was like out to dinner and we were with the group and they were like waved us over and they were like, hey, come sit with us. I mean, we definitely would because of Jalen Rose for sure. But Lefkoe, Towns, and Vince Carter. I guess Vince Carter, Towns. Yeah, you got to sit with all those guys. Lefkoe for sure. For sure. We wouldn't do that. But unless, you know, of course, Champ Quinn and Billy Buckets, we got to get our own table and have a good time. But Carl Towns, he can't sit with the boys. No. Would we let Carl Towns sit with the boys? Maybe. We'd have to see. We just have to feel it out in the moment, see what the vibe is. But this will be a fun broadcast as we wind down halfway through the second quarter here. In Milwaukee, cut it to 4. Lopez can't get the rebound or can't get the layup or the rebound either. Suggs going that was a sprint right there. Suggs going coast to coast on the transition was a sprint. He should have lost more stamina on that. Who is in charge of the stamina on the 2K broadcast? Oh, and Portis, another perfect release. Wow, Portis is just greening him right now. Portis is one of those guys that I feel like you would get a hot streak with just getting perfect releases on him. Again, I guess all this stuff we don't even have to theorize about because 2K25 is real and we could just go play it. But I guess we'll have to because we're not going to, chat. It's just what it is. The Xbox is... Actually, I don't even know where it's at right now, chat. It could be gone, honestly. Is that crazy? I don't want to make the Xbox people mad because, I mean, the video game community is a strong community. So to let an Xbox kind of just slide unnoticed, just disappear, would be, I think, a little... When we got it, of course, it was like, whoa, I can't believe we just got our hands on this. But, pause, but now, I don't even know. Is there a couple of gens? What's the newest Xbox, chat? Shout out to PlayStation. The nice thing about PlayStation, and of course, shout out to Xbox. I guess we don't necessarily have a favorite on this. I guess Sam would be the video game guy. So I guess it would be whatever Sam would use because he would be the video game head for sure. But Series XS? Is that right? Xbox One? No, I don't think it's the one anymore. Are they just now adding Xbox Series 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, the XS? Wow, chat, we're already in our old... We can't keep up with what these... We're like, which model's the newest? What are the kids calling these models? Xbox Series X. It looks pretty cool. I like it's just kind of a cylinder. Not bad. Sleek. You can kind of goes unnoticed. Goes with the, you know, the PC kind of vibe as well. Even though, look at this Xbox One, chat. The old school actual Xboxes, I take it back. I don't know if I like a more technical difficulties, chat. Are we locked in? It says we're reconnected. Testing, testing. Hello? Are you there, chat? Are you there? Oh, geez. Okay. I think we're back in. Let's check it out here. Let's take a look. Is Sam controlling something? He heard us talking about saying stuff about. I don't know. Is Big Xbox taking us down? We said shout out to PlayStation. We just meant shout out to them for keeping it simple with their model numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't just do like Xbox A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, they could go X, Y, Z. Just keep going different numbers. M, N, O, P. Just keep selecting from different random parts of the alphabet. Maybe, chat. I don't know. But still. NBA 2K. I guess the PlayStation version is the datacast that we are running at the moment. But make no mistake, chat. Tonight is not just about the NBA and the NBA Cup. It is December. We are starting to count down the new year. And the NBA Cup is not quite ready to hand out some awards. But the Rem and Sam pod, make no mistake, we are ready to as well. And we're introducing a new, I don't know if it's annual. I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see if Sam approves of the idea. But the potentially annual Rem and Sam Celebrity Crush Awards. And make no mistake, chat, like we're saying, this is definitely an idea that I had. We're not going to rope Sam on it with this yet. We'll try to see what he's thinking next time he's logged on. Maybe the best thing I'll do is just not to bring it up and then see if it goes unnoticed. But we're doing this, I think, professionally, chat. This is a respectful, this is a honoring and a crowning of achievements. So this is, looking at high achievers. This is all in the name of professionalism and having a good time on the Rem and Sam pod. But did they just hand out, when do they hand out like is it People magazine that does the sexiest man of the year, chat? I forget which magazine does that now. And I feel like we should know. Now we can't claim this is something that we're like, do we want to claim that this is something we're super locked in on? But it always seems to get through our feed somehow. Yeah, it was John Krasinski this past year. People magazine. But, I feel like there's a lot of lists like this as well, too, for some guys. Isn't there? And I feel like Sexiest Man Alive is not just one dude, right? I feel like there's been lists in the past where they've given it to like a bunch of people and then they've named like the headliner front page guy. Whoever paid the most on the list, I guess. John Krasinski forking up the big bucks this year to get on the cover. But I was like, we need to do our own version. And it's just what it is. Since People Magazine already, and I guess shout out to all the Rem and Sam pods, but all the Rem and Sam pod fans across, everything. But People Magazine already claimed the sexiest man alive. So I feel like, they already kind of claimed that whole category of people. So I feel like we don't want to step on that. We need to go a different direction to honor, the professionalism and the high achievers of the year. So we're going to give out the first ever annual Rem and Sam Celebrity Crush Award. And again, it's a respectful professional award. It's 2024 as well too. This is not just like random. It's thoughtful, chat. There's been some thought put into this list, but it's like we're saying, high achievers for the year. It's people that have tried to done stuff pause within the calendar year. So as we try to keep it as professional as possible, it's not even a ranking. It's just honoring like we're saying, the achievements, chat. It's just what it is. But this is a crazy segment, I know. It's just, we'll just try to work our way through it. But we're gonna count down some of the biggest moments, some of the biggest accomplishments throughout the year that have managed to stumble across our feed. There was a couple of different names we batted around for this too, but we landed on Celebrity Crush Award, Celebrity Crush MVP, Explore Page MVP. That was another one, but we decided to go with Celebrity Crush Award for 2024. 2024. So again, we'll hand out a winner near the end here. I don't know. Will it be third quarter into the second NBA Cup game by the time we get there? Who knows, chat? But counting down some of the biggest moments, biggest things that happen. Biggest moments, chat. Is that a sketchy thing to say in the Celebrity Crush MVP? But starting us off, number 10. We've got a tie, actually. IT says we have a tie between Hawk Tua and Glorilla. Wow, two dominant people on the internet in 2024. That is crazy. I think definitely on a lot of feeds this year. And Hawk Tua as well. I mean, make no mistake. Is meteoric rise, is that the correct term, chat? Because it's not a mediocre rise. It's meteoric because it's like a meteor, right? That term's always confused in my head because of those two words are so similar. But I think meteoric rise is good, even though, like we're saying, it sounds like it could be bad. But a comet rise. I just don't want to. I don't want to say like Hawk Tua had an explosive rise or blasted off. If Hawk Tua blasted off is a crazy way to start off the list, chat. But it's just what it is. We know one clip, and next thing we know, we're a couple months later, we're now Hawk Tua is like top 5 on the charts. But I mean, I feel like the two people that have been making the best moves this year, just in terms of like maybe the two best PR, the two best like had a moment and then business wise were able to capitalize on it as well. The two people that might have done that the best this year were Kendrick Lamar with the rap beef and Hawk Tua. Haley West with the Hawk Tua moment. Because I mean, like we're saying, she kind of managed to still like pop up in all these different spots. It was like Kendrick would, I mean, initially like drop the song, but then even after the beef, we're comparing Kendrick to Hawk Tua, chat. It's just what it is. But there were similarities because again, after kind of the initial rush, after the beef, after the songs, like we would still get all of these news things and all of this PR about Kendrick that was still like related to that and taking shots at that, like still definitely connected to that moment, but also like here is Kendrick furthering his career and building upon it and doing the next thing. Like he got the Super Bowl halftime, he dropped the album, he's just continued to have all these moments. He did the Harper's Bazaar cover, like I guess in a different order, Chad. Probably it's progressed upward. He did the Harper's Bazaar cover, or I guess no, he got the Super Bowl and then did the cover, and then dropped the album as well too. Had the biggest first week debut of any album that released for a 2024 album because, again, the Days Before Rodeo album was a reissued mixtape. Shout out to Travis Scott. But, you got the Hawk Tua, the merch, the pod. She kind of made sure to do the right interviews and stay in the spotlight. It just shout out, Chad. Shout out to Hawk Tua. It needed to be mentioned. We needed to make sure to Hawk Tua as we wrap up the year. Is this a pause, chat? As we wrap it up, we got to make sure to shout out the Hawk Tua moment and the rise for Miss Hawk Tua. But again, tied with Glorilla as well too. The album, I guess maybe the Hawk Tua clip between both of them. Like if we were drafting moments on the year, I mean probably the Hawk Tua clip. It goes number 1, but the Glorilla album, strong album. We're working on our list for best albums of the year. I mean, Glorilla's album is definitely a contender to be in a high part of the list, chat. I'm not gonna start making claims, but it'll work its way up there. And when I say high part of the list as well too, like the list is crazy this year, and I think we've said that before, but did we say we were working on our top 10 albums? It's just going to be kind of our top whatever albums. We'll see what ends up happening. Pause. We'll see how long the list ends up getting. But whatever it is, like Glorilla is definitely in the mix to be, I mean, it's like on the list, but in the mix to continue to work the way up. Incredibly solid debut album for the hype and the, sometimes working your way off the internet as well too, and then trying to make that crossover where not that you're trying to cater to everybody, but, you know, where like the serious people are going to try to take you serious. And, you know, you just like how many audiences are you going to be able to reach with all this stuff? And it's like, yeah, Glorilla has definitely been able, I mean, whatever market Hawk Tuah is in, I think Glorilla's been able to capture those same fans, right? Both from the South, both heavy Southern accents in the top 10 here. Let me look at the rest of the list. What's the Cajun accent count in the top 10, chat? Was that a plus for 2024? It was, at least for this spot anyways. Because yeah, I guess they both had it, but both incredibly strong 2024s. Glorilla. What was the 2023 like for Glorilla? I'm trying to think, because I feel like most of the rise has been in 2024, but there's probably some singles. Let me check. Obviously, the album in 2024 was the introduction for us, I guess, to Glorilla in a big way. But there was a project in 2023, Gangsta Art 2. So I guess Gangsta Art 1 is not on streaming, potentially. But Gangsta Art 2 is from 2023, but it released in September of 2023. A collab album with Moneybagg Yo. I guess a collab album with a ton of people. Glorilla is really only on 4 out of 18 tracks, so maybe 5 or 6 if we miscounted a couple. But still. And then, yeah, dropped the mixtape in April. And then is it just Glorious, or is it like Glorious? Is there wordplay that we're not knowing with the album title? But the Glorious album dropped out a couple months ago as well, too. So, yeah, I guess 2024 has been most of the big music drop. Yeah, Glow was 2024. That was February. So, yeah, that was an early release. In the Trunk, featuring Glorilla from December of 2023. Fendi DaRappa with Glorilla. Chat, sometimes we're just not as plugged into the game as we think we are. But a couple of singles there. Liquor Some? Should we have been bumping Liquor Some back in 2023? Internet Trolls. Okay, I guess there's singles going back to 2022 as well. There's a single on here from 2019. And then it jumps to 2021. With Nicky Poo. Shout out. But, yeah, again, big rise for both of them. Hawk Tuah, big rise, pause. But that is where the countdown starts, chat. The first award, I guess everybody gets a trophy, right? It's not participation, but I don't know, chat. If you can figure out a way to make this professional, let us know, and we'll try to clean it up. But yeah, our first winners of the evening, chat. Hawk Tuah and Glorilla tied for whatever spot, award, placement you want to get. Speaking of tied, though, I guess did Milwaukee just take the lead? Is it 59 to 60? Are we at halftime yet, chat? What just happened? I think we just went to halftime. We got so distracted by the Hawk Tuah Glorilla combo that we missed the last minutes of the second quarter. It's just what it is. It's just what's going to happen tonight, chat. That is the schedule. The schedule is going to be us, again, honoring the finest in 2024 in terms of business, while trying to watch this game. But for our own sake, let's catch up on what's going here at halftime. Let's see what's on. Oh, and what do you know, chat? Michigan plays Arkansas in a couple of minutes. It's crazy with the NBA Cup. Like, they're trying to, bring attention to the regular season, but they're shutting down the regular season now for the NBA Cup. There's only one game on at a time. There's 2 games on tonight. And yesterday, there was just one game. So I get you could say, NFL, whatever. we can't compete against Monday Night Football. But still, I guess everybody gets a break while they play the knockout rounds, while they play the quarterfinals for the Emeritus NBA Cup. So really, Emeritus just dropped like an just an unfathomable number to get this NBA Cup going, and the league was like, "Oh, okay, we'll make it work." There's some backdoor. There's some deal with the Saudis going on, where they're like, if you do this tournament and name it after, and obviously there is a deal for the naming rights with the company, but I'm just saying, like, is this actually the best way to drive attention for the regular season? You know, it's a couple of games out of the year, couple of days. If it's just a bunch of random NBA games, you know, the casual fans probably just focused on their team or focused on their players. So, you know, we just give them a game to watch anyways. And if they throw it on, they throw it on. But it has got to be a degenerate fan like me, because I do like I just like the slate of games, 6 or 7 games at one time. I like whipping around. My tolerance for NBA basketball is too high for one game, chat. I need multiple games. We can't have just, I guess, one NBA Cup game. It equals like 2 or 3 regular season games, but still, this early window, I mean, we're used to the early window, and maybe the NFL's gotten us used to a stacked early window, but still, we missed the rest of the NBA teams in action tonight. But I assume there's some good college basketball on. Tennessee is ranked 1 in college basketball right now? Whoa. Is this just like a team of 7-year guys? Yeah, how long has Ziegler been there for? I feel like he's been around for a while. Mashak. Lanier? C. Lanier? Any relation to Bob Lanier? The next Lanier? I mean, alphabetically it's correct, chat. Bob Lanier. C. Lanier. Okay, moving on. Duke is playing Incarnate Word. Duke is up 7, but Incarnate Word at the half. I mean, I guess they're going to win. They are still winning, but 7, you know, it's close. What was the money line or the odds? The spread. Yeah, Duke was favored by 24.5 going into this one. So for people that were on Incarnate Word, shout out. It's looking good so far. Cooper Flag, 2 for 8 from the field. 0 for 3 from 3 tonight. Yikes. We're calling that the Wembanyama. But what else? Should we just go for ranked teams? What do we got here? Wisconsin, Illinois in a little bit. Houston versus Troy. Starting to fire up. Oh, and Michigan is finally ranked at 14. Okay, let's go. Because I was thinking after last weekend, we got a victory over Iowa, I think, on Friday, Saturday. Over the weekend, we beat the hometown team. Love to see it. Love making the fans in the area upset. And it's different in football. In basketball, people just go about their day. You know, it is what it is. Caitlin Clark's not here anymore, so people don't care about college basketball in the area. But if Michigan gets a win, we love it. And not just against any team, but of course against the hometown team. And after that win, it was like, okay, at some point they got to put us in the rankings here, because we're 8-1. I mean, as a 1-loss team, you just got to pay respect to the record. So 14 might be a little higher than we would have liked. On the road versus Arkansas versus Calipari. Oh, Dusty May. Putting Dusty May up to the test right away. And Michigan favored by 3.5. Arkansas 7-2 on the year. Oh, boy, Chad. You always know when we smell a good deal against our own team. Arkansas plus 145. At home, Coach Cal. I mean, if you're tapped in now, you still have time. We would never say to bet against our own team. But we're just saying, if we were an Arkansas fan, we'd be like, hey, why are we minus 3.5 at home? Kurt Goldsberry, tight cross on the couch, but shout out to him. We didn't mean to expose Kurt Goldsberry like that. But if you have time, chat, and you want to make a little investment, Arkansas might be the move. But should we go to the next award, chat? The next person, next runner up, next nominee, chat, whatever, however you want to say it. Moving on to the next winner, chat. Celebrity Crush 2024. Shout out Molly from First Take. And maybe we should put Stephen A on this list because make no mistake, Stephen A is the one with the money now. Stephen A just signed a new contract with ESPN. I think Stephen A is like getting NBA, like he's getting like Hartenstein money. He's like $20 million a year. I think Hartenstein's a little bit more than that. $20 million now in the NBA is not what it used to be. Make no mistake. $20 million does not get you the same player. Is Stephen A Buddy Hield? But we know if Stephen A was in the NBA, I mean, equivocally max contract level stuff. So I guess we don't know the contract details for Stephen A's deal. Is there a team option? Does ESPN have an option? Does Stephen A have an option? In like the 4th or 5th year, can he opt out? I assume there is actually some sort of opt-out renegotiation that on the table for something like that. Neither side, I think, would be like, yeah, let's actually hold hands for 6 years and just trust each other. Like, make no mistake. These are all business people. They all want to make sure to throw little outs in there whenever they can. Morality clause? But anyways, I mean, First Take, of course, and Stephen A, he's carrying ESPN right now. You've got to give him his fair share, and you've got to make sure that, you know, he's taken care of. You can't lose Stephen A if you're ESPN. But First Take, I mean, at this point, that's what the show is. The show is Stephen A, and the show is also Molly as well, too. Like, Molly is the other mainstay on the show. And there's they have a rotating supporting cast as well. And mainstay rotating supporting cast, like, you know, Mad Dog, and he's got his own segment, and Ryan Clark's on there all the time. And back in the day, you know, it was JJ Redick, and you've got, you know, the WNBA. He's got Shanae and Andrea Carter on there as well. Elle Duncan's been making appearances as of late. So, you know, the two actual pieces of the show are Molly and Stephen A. And I feel like at this point as well, you know, I don't, you know, in like real life, I don't actually know what would happen. But I mean, it feels like those two are actually kind of it feels like those two are actually kind of inseparable in a way. And again, I'm not saying, like, I'm not speaking for Stephen A or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, at least from a show standpoint, like, obviously we'd all know if Stephen A left, whatever, it wouldn't be First Take anymore, just from a vibe standpoint. But if Molly left First Take, it wouldn't be First Take either. Like, if they got a new host, and it would still probably be First Take, like, it's Stephen A, you know, again, he's got the contract, like, whatever. But I mean, this is the 2024 Celebrity Crush Awards, and part of the Celebrity Crush Awards, like we're saying, is we're got to give Molly her fair share for First Take. That show is, I mean, again, ESPN, like, Stephen A is getting the credit right now for carrying ESPN, but I mean, it really is that show as well, too, because, I mean, it definitely draws out the best in Stephen A. Like, I know, make no mistake, maybe the entertainment value for some of the topics on his pod and on his YouTube channel are a little bit better, but I don't know, just Stephen A on that show, behind that desk, that environment for Stephen A is still the best. That's still, at least for, I guess I should say, that's our favorite environment to watch Stephen A in. Anyways, not to diminish his own independent stuff, because we watch that as well too and enjoy every second of it. Pause. But you know, if it was like Desert Island situation, what shows are we taking? Like, are we taking the Stephen A YouTube channel? Are we taking First Take? Like, you know, we're taking the First Take tapes, and those are the ones that we're gonna make sure to save, and that's the iconic work. And again, Molly is a big part of that as well too. How long has she been on there for now? We're not gonna look up any numbers, any contract stuff, out of respect, but whatever they're paying, she's definitely worth 2 or 3 times as more. We don't want to seem like we're not, what's the word we're thinking of, chat? Simping. We don't want to seem like we're simping too hard, chat. But I mean, it's Molly. Shout out. 08 College Football Live. Permanent host 2015. So yeah, almost a decade now. Wow. next year would be a decade of Molly on that show. So, I mean, yeah, that would have been, because obviously First Take itself has been around a little bit longer than that. Let's see when that show started. 2007, yeah. So it had the little hiatus from 16 to 17. I don't remember the full First Take timeline, chat, but 2007. Or no, it was on ESPN2 and then went to ESPN in 2017. Oh, okay. Because Stephen A was like in and out of the show for a while, so but it wouldn't have been in 2016-17. It would have been like 08 or 09 or something like that. But I didn't remember the full timeline there. But yeah, 2007 to now. But Molly has been on there for the last 10 years. And from when we have been tapped into like actual cable and able to watch ESPN for a while, because for a couple of years before we could actually like full on watch ESPN, like you could still watch some of the games. Like shout out, there's some people that, have put us on to some links throughout the years back in the day. I mean, we're law-abiding citizens now, chat. Make no mistake, we do our best. But I mean, back in the day, it wasn't just even a money thing either. It was just, we were kids, and it was like, I mean, I guess it is a money thing when you're a kid. Like, you can't just, like, pay for a whole cable network necessarily. But still, it was, it's just, it wasn't going to be on in the TVs that we had. So the only other way to find it was this way. And again, streaming wasn't even an option then. So it wasn't like there was even an option for us to go, oh, we could do, we could do ESPN Plus or whatever in Sling or League Pass or some alternate deal and just get NBA and be like, again, the Desert Island situation, like if we have to pay for one streamer, like we'll get the NBA as much as we can. But like back then that wasn't even a thing. So you would just, it is what it is. You would just have to tap in where you could online. But when we were actually able to when we actually like got Sling and stuff and actually started, and you actually had access to the cable channels and was able to not just watch the games, but it's like, oh, now we actually have ESPN. Like we have Sports Center, because otherwise it's just like a hotel, just like vacations. Shout out to everybody that knows the ESPN hotel life. Like we can only watch First Take in the mornings, waking up on vacation, continental breakfast. Oh, chat, what a childhood. You had to be there. But once we tapped in, again, that would have been right in that 2015 range. So Molly would have just been a mainstay the entire time we've been on the First Take run, and especially this summer as well too. Before our TV broke, shout out. It was a good TV. Had a good run, and when we got it, it was like one of those deals where it was like, I mean, this is cheaper and it's nice, so it could not last a while, but you're gonna get a good quality product if it does hold on for a second. You know how some of this stuff is built these days, chat, but. It did. I would say we got a good life out of it, and make no mistake, it's not been the most stable past couple of. It's been moved around. Like, it's probably got a little more wear and tear on it than it should, but yeah. Back in the summer when it was on, First Take in the mornings was a mainstay in the background. And again, this is 2024 celebrity crushes, so. The summer run for First Take and for Molly and for, I guess, Stephen A. Shout out Celebrity Crush. Is he on the list? Is IT going to accidentally mail the award to Stephen A. instead of Molly? Hopefully that doesn't happen. But it'll be forever remembered fondly, chat. The 2024 summer First Take run with Molly and Stephen A. And hopefully maybe next summer, new TV, we get it back, chat. Who knows? But or maybe we could just fire it up on the one we have now, but the second screen we have now. But it's a little different. First Take is like a TV show. Is it because it's just like a background show, chat? Yeah, it's a TV show for sure. You got to throw it up on the big screen and be able to kind of move around. It's not really like a laptop in the background ordeal, but maybe we're not as committed as we should be. Molly, we'll be back, Molly. We miss you. Okay, that was that one. We'll get to the next one here in a second. Is halftime almost back? Let's get to some basketball. Where's the basketball, chat? Where is the sports? And the worst part about the data cast is they don't cut to the inside crew for halftime. Let's just get these guys during the game. Shout out Jalen Rose. Okay, are they back? Is this a replay? This has to be live. They can't be showing a replay with the icons. That'd be a wild move. KCP off the screen. Okay, we're going, chat. KCP. Yeah, so the Bucks did reclaim the lead. We didn't even get to the Bucks stats, chat. Jeez. We didn't even get to the stats. We just got to rambling about Molly on First Take. It's what it is. Giannis is carrying right. I mean, Giannis is having the game of his life. And we're over here talking about how we were watching Molly in the mornings, chat. Giannis with 20. 8 for 13 from the field. 2 rebounds. This is a little crazy. Lillard, 8 points. The Magic, very balanced, chat. 9 from Suggs, 6 from Pope, 6 from Carter, 6 from Bitsitas, Goga, the center, 6 from De Silva, 10 from Black, 13 from Wagner. So the bench right now, working the Milwaukee bench, I think, is to be expected. Oh, Giannis is taking threes. That's not good, chat. 13 shots in the first half, and his first shot in the second half, he's jacking up a three-pointer. He's starting off the second half already being like, yeah, I can't do it all on my own. I need some help here, guys. He's like, I need to start making three-pointers. Oh, they get to the rim again. Lopez, he's just gonna, it's just what it is, chat. Is it, oh, do they have pronunciation on Basketball Reference? Let's see if they do. Or they might on, does Wikipedia have the guide sometimes? Sometimes they have the little pronunciation audio. Let's see. Oh, we're out of luck. Okay. We're just going to have to sound it out if they have it on Basketball Reference. Let's see here, chat. What do we got? Oh, they do. Oh, this is clutch. Okay. So first name, yeah, Goga Bataze. Ooh, there we go. Goga Bataze. Wow, that's clutch. That is clutch. If you're looking to follow him on Twitter, that's Goga Bataze, 2 eyes in the last name. Did somebody else have the first Goga Bataze 1 eye? And then he was like, oh, got to switch it up. He's been around for a little bit now. Yeah, that's right. Originally on Indiana. This is his 6th year in the league. 2nd contract guy. Not with the team that drafted him, but still sticking around. How did he get to Orlando? And he was kind of a high draft pick as well, too. Yeah, 18th. He just signed there. Yeah, he was just waived by the Pacers. Wow. I thought they would have traded him. I mean, make no mistake, it was 4 years after they drafted him. And, I mean, his raw numbers aren't necessarily crazier than they were as well. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm looking at it wrong. Let me see. I had it sorted backwards. I mean, yeah, his numbers have actually gone up. Okay, he is actually, of course, playing way better than he did back on the Pacers. But still, just to waive your former 18th overall pick. I mean, you couldn't get a couple of seconds for him, chat? Something? Anyways, he continues to produce tonight for the Magic. The Magic up 3. Were the Bucks in the NBA Cup last year? So the Bucks, I mean, some NBA Cup demons that they have to exercise. They've been knocked out of the NBA Cup now before. And no Lakers in this year as well. That's kind of good for, I think, the LeBron NBA Cup legacy. He hasn't actually lost an NBA Cup game. LeBron fans, take that one as like the #1 MJ point just to like make them mad. Is, well, LeBron's never actually lost an NBA Cup game, huh? I guess you could say he's won more NBA Cup games than MJ has too. But also, he's never lost. LeBron undefeated in NBA Cup games, if I'm not mistaken. But won't be able to defend his title this year. Fortunately. Unfortunately. Warriors, Rockets tomorrow. Who's tonight? Yeah, Mavs, Thunder tonight. So those are the 4 teams representing the Western Conference this year. And who do we pick? Yeah, we picked Steph to get the dub. Warriors, Rockets is going to be a good game. That is actually going to be super exciting. Mavs, Thunder will be super fun as well, too. The Data Cast? Will that be a good game for the data? That might be an interesting game for the shot chart. Milwaukee, too. Do they just... Oh, is it just quarter by quarter? They reset it quarter by quarter? I want to be able to see it throughout the game as well. So, we hate to say this for TNT, but, you know, as a consumer, we want to be able to get the best possible product, so we have to hold these companies accountable. I guess not just for their products, but maybe for other things. But still, in this sense, DataCast, it's not doing it. Oh, he just hit a shot probability of 22% and it goes in. Jalen Suggs. It was red on the release and somehow he got it to go. So the DataCast, I mean, their analytics probably aren't even correct. Jalen Suggs, does he have like a dead eye badge? Is that the right one, chat? Defender in the face or whatever? Pause. But anyways, speaking of pause, that gets us to our next spot on the Celebrity Crush Countdown. As we get to our #1, if Rem and Sam ever does a magazine, the #1, the magazine cover, the headliner spot, will be unveiling in a second. Can IT do up like a? Can we do like a mock-up magazine? Are we? Is this too much work for IT? Are we above their skills? We should probably ask. We probably should have asked before we hired them, but we were desperate for help, so it's what we got. But hopefully they're able to cook up a fake magazine. But the next the next spot, #8. Shout out another mainstay on the Explore page. Explore page MVP for 2024. And just a big year as well. Shout out to Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa is, I mean, potentially just a Mount Rushmore celebrity crush for us in general. But also released another album this year. Was it Radical Optimism? Let me see if that was the title for it. Yeah, Radical Optimism earlier this year, back in the spring, May of 2024. And let's see what the numbers were on that one, chat. Did that one go #1, or was that still... Was there like a Taylor Swift album thing at that point? Because that would have kind of been in the Might Delete Later range as well. And Might Delete Later got #2 when it debuted. Overall, behind, I think it was Taylor Swift was still on the Billboard at that point. Which, I mean, of course, Cole's going to lose out to... Everybody's going to lose out to Taylor Swift. Anyways, but it was weeks later at that point. And it was like, oh man, it was like more the realization of like Might Delete Later would have gone #1 just randomly if Taylor Swift hadn't been there. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, debuted at #2 on the Billboard 200. And all this stuff, all the history information as well, too, is behind a paywall now. So I don't think we're going to be able to see what that week was. But I think that was still Taylor Swift. But 83K for Dua Lipa first week. So shout out. Well, if you haven't licked your wounds yet, maybe a little Rem and Sam Celebrity Crush Award for 2024 will help you feel a little bit better. What did Club? What is Club Future Nostalgia? What is this? It's a remix album? Oh, it is a remix album. Yeah, no, Future Nostalgia is the actual album. Yeah, that was her second album. So this last one was her third studio album. This one did... Future Nostalgia debuted at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 100 with 66 equivalent units. Wow, so a step up for Dua Lipa. Wow, I didn't realize that Future Nostalgia had 66 units its first week. Is hip-hop bigger than I thought it is? I thought in some ways it was smaller than it is. Because, I mean, we've been bumping so much Freddie Gibbs lately, chat, and I was looking at Freddie Gibbs, and he's got like 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Like, how does Freddie Gibbs not have, endless number of listeners? Like, this is one of the best discographies just in music, straight up. Like, and sometimes with hip hop as well too. Like, there can be things where it's not even like it's not even just like hip hop people that would like, but it's even certain like it gets genre specific where you're like, oh, maybe if you only listen to this type of hip hop, like I know that you might not even like this type of stuff over here, like might not be for you. Like Freddie Gibbs feels like he could be about as, hit about as wide an audience as anybody really could. Especially, I mean, just his beat selection, it's so relaxed and chill and, having worked with such great producers as well too, but just his flow in general. But I mean, the production throughout his discography, you're like, I don't really know how anybody couldn't appreciate the music that he's putting together as well. So I guess we just have to, the only way, chat, we just got to start telling everybody we know to start listening to Freddie Gibbs. Make no mistake, last time we were hanging out with the champ and Billy Buckets, we were like making sure to we were going into it being like, I'm gonna recommend him these Freddie Gibbs albums. And then the champ told us that he had been bumping the newest one that Freddie Gibbs had dropped, You Only Die Once. So we were like, oh well, this is perfect. So we just like made sure to mention like, hey, you got to make sure to listen to the old Freddie Gibbs as well too. So make no mistake, next time we're hanging out, same thing. We're just going to pretend like we didn't bring it up last time. Because we can get away with that. They think we have Alzheimer's, chat. And make no mistake, we definitely do. But we can also use that to our advantage, like constantly bringing up Freddie Gibbs. And constantly recommending Freddie Gibbs. This will be a time where they could be like, Rem's Alzheimer's is crazy right now. He's lost it. Freddie Gibbs, he keeps talking about him. But it is what it is, chat. Are you listening to Pinata? Are you listening to Bandana, Alfredo, Sold Separately, Straight Killa, Midwest Gangsta Bach music from Midwest Gangsta Bach music frame Cadillac music? Oh, Midwest Gangsta Bach frame Cadillac music. I'm an idiot, chat. I can't read. Inspired, of course, by the Outkast album as well. Southern Cadillac playlist music. But Freddie Gibbs, chat. If you're not bumping Freddie Gibbs, let's get Freddie Gibbs up there for Spotify 2025. Can we get Freddie Gibbs to double digits? I need to somehow tell 7 million people to listen to Freddie Gibbs. Ooh, chat. It's gonna be hard work, but we'll see what we can do. We'll do our best, buddy. Just keep the music the quality it's been, and we'll keep recommending. But anyway, speaking of Freddie Gibbs, our celebrity crush list is turning into Stephen A. Smith and Freddie Gibbs, but we were talking about Dua Lipa's album, Radical Optimism, which, let me pull this track list back up as well, too. Because Future Nostalgia is like actually, I don't want to necessarily, do I need to pull up the old raps and see if there was like some Future Nostalgia in the top 100s? But this had some real, what was on this, chat? Break My Heart, Hallucinate, Levitating with the Baby. We're locked in with the DaBabies, so I mean, that was his moment. We were there to support, but It felt like this album was more prevalent than this number. It feels like Dua Lipa is a bigger star than this number generates. Why is Dua Lipa's album sales down, chat? What's going on? Maybe, so this will be what, number? Oh, geez. I lost a chat. I lost her page. I'm panicking. I've lost my pictures of Dua Lipa. Pause. Anyways, the next album, maybe we get to 100K for Dua Lipa. Houdini? Okay, yeah, where was that? I was looking for that on the track list. Did I just not see it? Oh, that's for Radical Optimism. Oh, okay. I thought I was on the Future Nostalgia page for a second, but I was on the Radical Optimism page. Okay. Anytime Dua Lipa gets brought up, chat, we just get nervous and we just don't know what to do. It's just what it is. But fourth album, third album. Jeez, chat. Like I'm saying, I just don't even know what's going on right now. Should we just move on to number 7? Should we just move on to the next one? I don't want to make it a list. Comparison is the thief of joy, chat. We're not trying to ruin anybody's day, but Houdini, Training Season, those definitely popped off. Illusion. These Walls, I feel like that song was pretty good. They said it got released as a single, later in November? But that song was on the album, I think, when it originally released. That one was kind of fun. But solid music. Always, A+ with her media moves. And definitely, a mainstay for our feed, our algorithm, our rotation as well too. Professionally, chat, the music, the business ventures, the red carpets. It's the red carpets, chat. It's just what it is. So, yeah, Dua Lipa got the next spot. But we've kind of got a little battle here. 68-69. 5 minutes left in the third. Sorry, it's 4 minutes. It's dipped into the 4th minute, so that's where I was looking subconsciously. I said 4, but they give us, so they give us the quarter stats as well on the box score. So that's kind of interesting. You've got the shooting just for this quarter, field goal and 3-point free throws as well, but just the general points. So, you can you get a good glimpse right away for people like us that haven't been paying attention. If you just happen to randomly be watching a game while thinking about Dua Lipa, that's a pause. That's crazy, chat. We just mean like on the mind, professionally thinking about Dua Lipa. And you just go, was this third quarter? Has it been a good third quarter? Has it been competitive offensively? Has it been defensive? Like, what's going on? Oh, I got the data cast on. Let me just check out these third quarter stats that are on the screen already for me. Oh, it's a poor shooting third quarter. 29% from Orlando, 36% from Milwaukee. Oh, right into Giannis. The foul on Wagner. Wagner with the little shrug after kind of not letting Giannis get that in. Pause. Oh, wait, was that and one for Yanni? Oh, maybe Wagner's like, I still got it. 1 for 8 for Orlando from 3. 1 for 6 for Milwaukee. Giannis is 11 for 17. Jeez, chat, like, I don't know. Are assists overrated? Like, is assists the only thing that Jokic can do over Giannis? I guess he can, the shot making is probably better than Giannis as well. But Giannis, the shots that he can get and his ability to hit those, you literally just look at the percentages. Like, it is as high level as Jokic's ability to make shots all over the court. And yeah, I guess they're both, sort of physically dominant as well too. So if you go, like if you make that argument for Giannis, like, yeah, Jokic has that case in his bag. Plus like we're saying, just the overall shot making, and he's got extended range and all that stuff. But again, Giannis's scoring numbers, Giannis's ability to produce points is just as good as Jokic's. It is just as good as Jokic's. Like, if Jokic needs to go for 56 to carry his team to a victory against the Wizards, like, make no mistake, Giannis can put up 56 against the Wizards as well. It's just what it is. I mean, we saw Giannis put up, 50-something against the Hornets? Or maybe it was actually against the Wizards. But, I mean, he's going to give you the same number of points in the box score as Jokic can give you. The rebounding is there. Giannis's defense is, of course, better than Jokic's as well. So, I mean, outside of the playmaking, chat, I mean, it's close, chat. It's just it's like this hands down thing. And I get it, if MJ's in the league, it's just what it is. Like, if it's obvious, it's obvious. But, I mean, Giannis is about as obvious a number 2 / could be a number 1 as we've got in the league, especially with Embiid not being there for the season, really. And I guess, taking shots at it, I don't, it is what it is. I'm not saying anything bad about Embiid. I'm just saying, like, his presence out there, he's been in that mix for the big 3 in the MVP the last couple of years. But is this the equivalent of an apology? Load management? Load management is like apologizing and suing. It's if the same guy did both. But, just him not being there is kind of made the tier that I think Giannis and Jokic operate in maybe a little different. And plus with their status in the game as well, too. Like, I guess the guys, again, without Embiid, and maybe Curry, you got Embiid has really been absent this year. Curry has taken a little bit of a step back as well. Not even really a step back, but, he's just a year into it. And him adjusting to age and all. It's like, it's just that it's a different phase of Steph's career we're seeing that he's about to enter into. And he's still definitely like, all NBA, all-star level talent, but, caliber player right now in the league. But him in that like tier 1, because I mean, there were still moments over the last several seasons where him peak offensively, it was like, okay, I mean, why wouldn't you take Steph? Because it's like he's still doing the offensive stuff that he's been doing at the same level. And, oh, yeah, it's Steph Curry. He has a history of being the greatest shooter and the playoff history as well. I mean, the best playoff history outside of LeBron of any player in the league at the moment. So it was like, okay, well, he has to still at least be in the conversation. But, I mean, now Jokic and Giannis are definitely 1 and 2. Like, I mean, Bird and Magic were 1 and 2 from the talent standpoint, or from a notoriety standpoint, in a name value standpoint. I mean, they've definitely aged as well too as like the 2 best players from that era. And I mean, they would be on the all-time list. Like, we're not saying that they weren't, but like Moses is a top 20 player of all time and was in the mix there in the 80s for a while. Like Dr. J was playing in the 70s as well too. So, maybe if Embiid had actually had some playoff moments at this point in his career, he'd be a little higher up on the legacy rankings. But if you're just going from sort of this era of guys, because, again, you've got the extended era of LeBron and Durant and Curry and some of these other legends. But, kind of from post that era on, I guess I feel like LeBron going to LA is kind of like a new era. Maybe that last Warriors title is like the end of the old era. I don't know. We'd have to really go back and kind of map it out and see what a good place to timestamp it is. But taking that and kind of giving them the 2010s and the teens is maybe a 2020 year or 2 as their own moment. Like this current era of guys that we're in for impacting, like where is the third guy on the legacy rankings right now? And a lot of that has to do with the youth as well, too, in the league, which is what I think we were going to say earlier. And unfortunately, we were able to bring it back around. But, the other guys right now for the second and third best player in the league, because we were saying, not Curry anymore. But the other guys in the mix right now would be Shea and Luka and Tatum and these other younger players. So, Tatum has the title now in the playoff history. But that team is definitely like, I mean, a super, I mean, we know that we know what's going on with that Boston team for sure. And not to take away from Tatum and any of his legacy stuff. And maybe, maybe this is kind of a moment talking it out where we need to go, hey, where is Tatum right now on the legacy rankings with the playoffs that he had and, actually winning a title like that? That alone narrows you down into a list of guys like being the best player on a title team. And again, I get it's not finals MVP, but you don't want to just say like winning a title because we get like Robert Horry, like shout out. Obviously Tatum is higher on the legacy rankings or fantasy rankings or whatever than Robert Horry. Or, Horry's good too. We don't want to disrespect Horry, but like Barkley, of course, like not to bring it up again. IT, cut that out. Sorry, we didn't mean to bring it up again. Like Karl Malone for not getting a ring. Like where, and not that Tatum would pass Karl Malone now, but like where is he? What would be the steps for him to getting in that mix? But like Shea, I mean, is a great talent, and I mean we would expect Shea to go down as a great player in NBA history, but Shea he's a young guy. He hasn't had any moments yet. And he doesn't really have a spot on the. I mean, what does he even have on his resume? And again, this is not just a disrespecting Shea segment. Like, what has Shea done in the league? It's just, from a big picture standpoint, like, what does actually Shea have on his resume if we're starting to, like, rank guys in NBA history? Like, he's made a first team All NBA. Like, it's just where he's at in his career. Luka, he's mid-20s. Like, he's made his first finals run. And he's like LeBron in 07. Like LeBron in 07, you would go, oh yeah, I mean, this guy's on pace to be great. And the resume as well too, with the all NBAs and stuff that he's put together. Like it's been fun, but it's not Mahomes. Like that's what's been special about Mahomes is, I mean, it's I mean, of course it's the Super Bowls, but the ultimately resulting in winning, like it's the numbers and the winning for a full career. Like the thing with Brady, I mean, Brady warped everybody's minds in so many ways that I don't think we even realize with the legacy stuff. But, collecting those Super Bowls as well early and then just having that in the bag to where, Brady had to kind of work his way into those 3 Super Bowls. And then ultimately, of course, he's way surpassed it and won more Super Bowls and be, the greatest quarterback, smashed all the records and, became like the best passer in the league. Like he was actually the best quarterback in the league. And then like Brady actually became the best quarterback of all time on the field. Not just he had to do all the legacy stuff to get that title. Like he actually became it playing in the fear standpoint and people going up against him and the knowledge and all that stuff. But Mahomes is actually like, the talent is there. The numbers are there, and he actually has done the amount of winning that most guys outside of Brady have done over the course of their career. Like, I mean, it's just what Bradshaw is the only other guy that has 4. Like, who else has 4, chat? I can't, Elway played in 5. Aikman has 3. Staubach has 2. And of course, I think, with all due respect to Bradshaw, like, Mahomes, I think, has just carried a little bit more responsibility on the Chiefs team maybe than Bradshaw has done. And we should probably go watch a little bit more 70 Steelers than we have now before we start saying that. But, I mean, the mobility stuff that Mahomes was doing alone is just enough to, at least eye test-wise, you're taking him over Bradshaw. But, the other guys right now in the league behind Giannis and Jokic just don't really have the resumes from an all-time standpoint. So in terms of that legacy, and then there's still the 2 guys that are like affecting winning the most in the league, like their path is kind of cleared. Like again, even for MJ, like Hakeem was in the league in the 90s. Like Malone and Stockton were there. Like Malone and Stockton entered the league when Jordan entered the league. Like they were 83, 80. Was Stockton the 84 draft and then Malone was the 83 or the 85 draft? Or something like that. So, I mean, Malone was making first-team All-NBAs in the 80s with Jordan as well, too. So his resume going into the 90s and then into their finals runs and all that stuff, like when Malone was having his time and winning it. Like, Malone was establishing his legacy along the way. Like, Hakeem was established as a star, and then, I guess he was same draft as Jordan as well. So I guess that class kind of mid-80s, I guess all that talent kind of did come into the league over those course of the couple of years there. And then you think about the young talent that entered in, throughout, like Shaq in the 90s didn't really run into Jordan in any kind of way. Like he got to the finals the 1 year Jordan was out and then kind of emerged post Jordan. Duncan entered the league after Jordan. Same with Kobe was that 96 draft, 98 draft? How do we not know off top the Kobe draft, Chad? That's the iconic draft. 96, right? Iverson, Kobe? But yeah, Iverson as well too. Like that 96, I mean, that's 12 years after the 84 draft when you get that big stacked draft. So that's like a whole, is 12 years? No, we can't even do math, Chad. Is that correct? 84 to 94 and then 2 years. And then I guess it would be a couple more years after that before those guys fully form to like the peak of their powers. So, you're looking 15 plus years, like full careers for the 90s guys before that next real wave of talent that actually impacts the league enters. Because, I mean, that's who it is. It's that 96 draft with Iverson and Kobe and then Shaq a couple years earlier and then Duncan in the 98 draft a couple years after that. Is Dirk in the 96 draft as well? You get that Dirk Pierce draft, Paul Pierce. But just kind of all that talent that floods in the late 90s. But like Reggie Miller, hanging out there in the 90s next to MJ. Like Reggie Miller wasn't like the third best player in the 90s, was he? Like it feels like, is Tatum in like a Reggie Miller? Reggie Miller's top 75 though, player of all time, right? Like I don't know if Tatum's a top 75 player of all time, but who was first team All-NBA last year? Was it Jokic? Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, Luka, and then Shea? So yeah, I mean, just the legacy gap even before the playoffs last year we actually, it was Luka and Tatum, and I think that was, too, the big storyline of the last year's playoffs was that whole youth takeover and that whole youth movement. But still, I mean, we know that Jokic and Giannis still on top of the league, but even still, I think it's interesting to me anyways. I think that margin is crazy. And I guess it's more interesting because I just don't know, chat. I would need to go through and look at the other all NBAs and see and try to gauge. I mean, I guess you go way back to like the Chamberlain Russell days, like the gap between those two guys and the third best player is probably crazy. But even still, I mean, that Celtics team, I mean, you got to put respect on some of those other names for sure. And then West was also in the league at that point. Like Elgin Baylor was in the league. So like, we just don't know. So maybe that is a good one because I think with his, and again, we're way out of terms here, Chad. I mean, this is 50s and 60s and 70s basketball that we just don't know anything about. But, the confidence at which you would take Russell and Chamberlain at 1 and 2 back then, if you're trying to build a team, maybe that is kind of the equivalent now of what we're seeing with Giannis and Jokic. And, MJ back in the day, of course, is going to be a confident number one. So maybe that's kind of a little bit of a different thing. But, one guy kind of, and that's why, MJ's the GOAT, but just one guy kind of hovering over the league in that kind of manner. But even still, like, it felt like LeBron, especially in that second Cleveland run, because, like, I mean, at that, like, Curry was definitely developing into something special at that point. And, I mean, once Pete Curry kind of formed after, like, we had that first run where it was like, oh, they're here. They're actually here, and they're winning it. And then they're winning the title, and Curry's the MVP of the league and all that stuff. And it actually just sprang up and happened one season. But then when we go into that next season with, we know the Warriors are here, and we know this is a dangerous team, and then Curry is just fantastic. And, like, we know from an NBA history standpoint, like, watching Curry that season, that this is special. This player is special. Like, this is, top 20 all-time type stuff. And, it becomes, it was a little bit with Curry. Like, peak Curry, from what we were seeing with Pete Curry was, I mean, it's just more special than what we were seeing from peak Doncic, peak Tatum, peak Shea right now. Like, peak, like, Curry emerging as an all-time player. We knew that I think he had a chance to maybe climb a little bit higher on the all-time list than Shea. And that's not to, again, on the REMINGTOM pod that we don't put limits on people's upside. Like, Shea could be a better all-time player than Curry at the end of the day. He could win 4 or 5 NBA titles on his own right. He could win 2 Finals MVPs, and then you have to put him above Steph Curry at that point. But, I just felt like we knew that he was kind of challenging LeBron for a popularity thing as well too, which I think was part of it, and just the popularity of his brand, I think. And that, that goes to with what Sam was saying as well too, with the conversation that we were having with Cooper Flagg about these guys being able to sort of capture the league in the same sort of way. And, like I was saying, I think winning is a part of that as well too. So the conversation goes hand in hand. But, with Curry at that point, with Durant in the league, there's a couple of guys there that, again, those are also top 20 players in the league in their own right. So I guess, one more guy. But still, I think LeBron was kind of in his own tier. And then both those guys, it's like the closest ever, tier 2. We have these all-time greats, but also LeBron is like this Mount Rushmore figure, and just, it's like top 3, top 4, top 2, top 1 of all-time guys. Just there's nothing you can do about it. But again, I don't know if there's another top 100 player in NBA history, like currently right now, like at the peak of their power, like that's affecting winning. And now I guess Davis is the other one. Are we just disrespecting Davis by not mentioning him for like the last 15 minutes? Because he is also on the 75th anniversary team. But for active guys, I think Dame would be the only other active player. Because I don't know if Giannis got on Jokic definitely didn't make it, unfortunately. But it was just the list came like a maybe not even a season too early, like 6 months too early. Like it's just what it was. And I feel like there was, the basketball people kind of knew like Jokic could get there, but there was just not, like Shaq at least had the finals run with Orlando to when he made the 50 list, and you were like, Shaq's a dominant guy. Like we've seen it in the playoffs, and we know what his peak winning can affect. Like I don't think Jokic had really had a playoff run when that list dropped. But I think that list, dropped it like the all-star game of the year that they were going to make the playoff run. I don't remember the exact timing or whatever. But yeah, it was like, they dropped the list a day early, and Jokic didn't make it on. But Giannis, I don't think made it on either. Let me check here. Because again, Giannis got his titles and MVPs before Jokic, just on the timeline. So of course, Jokic is probably passed up Giannis on the legacy rankings a little bit at this point. But shout out, Giannis did make it. Okay, can we tap in here and see? Let's see what we got, chat. Let's pull this 75th anniversary team back up and see who we've got on it right now. I guess, again, if we're just going active players just in general, Chris Paul was also definitely on this list and is still currently playing. Oh, geez. Giannis just has too many achievements to sort through. It's just what it is. Wow. I can't. Shout out to Giannis for getting on there. Good job by the voters. Oh, okay. So we got a handful here. I guess technically Kawhi, even though he last played in 2024. Westbrook is an active All-75 guy. So we got Kawhi, Westbrook, Chris Paul, Dame, and Harden. And then we've got LeBron, Durant, Curry, Davis, Lillard, and then Giannis as well, too. Giannis, Curry, Davis, Durant, Harden, LeBron, Lillard, Chris Paul, Westbrook, and Kawhi are the active All-75 guys. So, again, who's the next closest guy to making it on that list? It's Luka, right? It is Luka. But I don't think it's really... And, I mean, maybe I'm just crazy, but to me, it's not really a conversation at all. And I just not to... And, you don't want to say this stuff to be dismissive. Like, we're talking about Luka as the third best player in the league potentially here. Like, this is not, I don't think, a disrespectful conversation, but just in our own nitpicks, like, I think you're so, you're so much rather taking Jokic. And to me, you're just like so much, just like, it's not like Giannis over Doncic is not really a question. Like, if we're in the fantasy draft and we're building a team, and we have the number 2 pick, and it's, Sam had the number 1 pick, and he took Jokic off the board first because he's a Jokic homer, and we knew that was going to happen. Like, I mean, it's no question right away. It's quicker than the Kings took Marvin Bagley in the 18 draft. Like, we're we're also passing up on Luka Doncic with 5 minutes left on the clock. Like, the Mavs were like, we don't want Luka. We're taking Marvin Bagley. We don't even need to look about trades. Just, does anybody even want to trade up for Luka? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, we want Marvin Bagley so bad, we're going to send in the card right away. We're going to do that with Giannis. At this point, if we're trying to win a title this year, right now, that's our 3rd guy. And, maybe Luka's not even, I don't know exactly how our rankings would play out if we were, like, actually sitting down and building a team that way. Because, Tatum is also in that mix as well, too. Edwards, I mean, if we're building a title team for this year, we're probably not taking Wembanyama with the 3rd pick. But, still, we'd have a conversation to see what kind of team we could build in this 30-team draft scenario. It's a serpentine draft, and we took Wemby with the 3rd pick, and then we don't pick again till like 57. It would be brutal. Who's the 57th best player in the league right now? Should we see what this hypothetical team should look like, chat? Okay, a slight detour just to see if it would be possible to pick Wembanyama with that pick. Should we look at PER to see who has a top 50 ranking? Top 50 points per game? I think we did. Did we call that the best stat in the league? Hot take, it's points per game. Maybe it's true shooting percentage. Oh, maybe it's VORP. If we go top 50 value over replacement player. Wembanyama is 15th, so all NBA in terms of the advanced stats. 50th. Oh, 50th right now is Chris Paul. What do you know, chat? So that would be our actual title team if we're trying to compete and we're draft Wembanyama first. We would actually, or 3rd, we would actually just end up building the Spurs. We would get Wembanyama 3rd, and then 50th overall player on the board would be Chris Paul. But we've got Derek Lively at 51, Randall at 48, Amen Thompson at 46. He's definitely... Oh, so, here we go. Ja Morant's on the board at 47 for value over replacement players. So, yeah, Tyrese Maxey's at 63. Durant is at 67. Okay, so this is probably not perfect. Oh, shout out. Should we just go to the Ringer? Let's see what the Ringer's up to. If we go to their player rankings... Let's see who they have as the 50th best player in the league. This is why they make the rankings, chat, for times like this. When you're ever like, what would happen if I took Wembanyama 3rd overall in a hypothetical league redraft if we're trying to win the title this year? And I guess it's not even 50th. It would be 57th. So I guess in the value over replacement player... If there's a couple auto draft picks in there, some GMs not showing up, maybe Durant could somehow fall. But I don't feel like we could get that many GMs to not show up. Which GM, chat, if we were redrafting the league, which GM would most likely do an auto draft? Who would it be? Okay, so right now the Ringer has Kristaps as the 50th, but we're looking for... 50th, we're not even on the board yet. We're on the board at 57. Jared Allen at 56. Oh, speaking of Julius Randle, it is Julius Randle as the 57th best player in the league. So we would get Wemby at number 3 and then Randle at 57. Bridges is 58. Zach LaVine 60. Murray 61. Oh, Suggs is 62. Wemby and Suggs? Wemby and Kobe White? Ooh, do we just reach and take Vassell? They have Vassell ranked 70 right now. Just keep rebuilding the Spurs. Hey, I think maybe the Spurs, chat. Maybe we got a little something going right now. But let's actually see what they've got. Oh, wow, they've actually got Doncic over Giannis. So again, maybe I am crazy, chat, but just to me, Giannis's dominance when he's... And it's It's not even like when he's a locked in thing. It is a little bit of that, but to me, it's more like when the team is actually, when it's more like a night when he realizes they can win, then he'll go for it, because that's the thing when he's like actually, and he wants to win so bad every night too. He just is really going for it. But I don't know, chat. To me, you got to have Giannis over Doncic still. To me, that's a clear-cut case. And I don't know what that says about the all 75, the legacy rankings as well too, because the MVPs and the title for Giannis put him, in a tier above Luka, but Luka's at like 5 or so all NBAs now. Like if you're making the case for Luka right now over Giannis, it's probably not a stretch for you to think that Luka is, but he's not a top 75 player of all time right now, legacy-wise, right? Again, Giannis was on, Davis was on. I mean, Tracy McGrady wasn't on. Does Luka have a better legacy right now than Tracy McGrady? How many All-NBAs did Tracy McGrady make, chat? Probably like 2. But we've hit more perfect releases with Tracy McGrady than we have with Luka Doncic. No, he made 7 All-NBAs, 7 All-Stars, 2-time scoring champ. So, I mean, you go 19 a game for his career, maybe some of the percentages, whatever. But, peak Tracy McGrady. Like, I don't know if Luka has to win a title or get back to the final. Well, see, Chet, that's the thing. He took a team to the finals, and Tracy McGrady never did. But, I mean, come on, Chet. At the end of the day, do highlights mean nothing? Do good times mean nothing in the legacy rankings? God, has Luka already passed Tracy McGrady? I mean, has he passed Bob Pettit? Like, what does the ranking look like? Because he hasn't passed the tier of, like, role players that would be on a... Like, Luka hasn't had a better career than Klay Thompson, right? I don't know, chat. Who's higher on the all-time rankings right now? Again, it's not... Because we get that Luka could be the number 1 on a team that could go to the finals, and Klay, that's just really something that we haven't seen. I don't know if we would bet that, but again, we're not going to write it off the table, but it's just not something that has ever happened on paper. So is being the Splash Brother on 4 finals teams enough to compete against Luka freaking Doncic, who has never won a title, but is apparently right now a better player than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Tatum at 4. But yeah, Tatum, Shea. So they have Curry, Durant, and Davis. And they still have Embiid over Anthony Edwards. I mean, Embiid has played 2 games. Embiid's played like 100 minutes this year. But apparently the Embiid minutes have still been better than the Edward minutes. Oh, Edwards. That's tough. When was the last time they did this list? November 20th? Ringer, update. 3 weeks? We need to get Embiid out of here. Sorry, Embiid. It's just a non-qualifier type. It's not that you're not a top 75 player. It's just, these guys are actually playing. These guys are in the league. These guys are competing. I mean, you're hurt. It is what it is. It's get well soon, Embiid. It's a get well soon placement. It's an IR placement. There's an IR ranking, and you're the Embiid's the number 1 overall player on IR right now. It's just what it is. But I don't know. Chet's also on IR. Yikes, Chet. But anyways, let's take a quick break actually, and then we've got more Celebrity Crush Awards to give out, chat. Make no mistake. We're only we'll pick up. No, I think the list is actually just starting to heat up. No, just professionally in terms of takes. Oh, chat, we're working our way through it. Celebrity Crushes 2024. This is a mess. Pause. Okay, we are back. Tapped in. Welcome to the people that are joining us. We're counting down the top. we're not counting down. We're handing out trophies to the celebrity crushes for the 2024 year. The first ever Rem and Sam 2024 Celebrity Crush Awards. Counting down to the magazine cover, the headliner award, the Miss Rem and Sam Celebrity Crush, I guess. Is that a potential title? I don't know. We'll keep working shopping it as we go. Something. But hopefully it doesn't distract us too much from this ending of the Bucks Magic game. It's 4 points with 4 minutes to go. Reviewing a little foul turnover potential on Lillard. Let's actually go. Yeah, here we go. 4:03 left. Like we said, Milwaukee up 4. Yeah, and Dame ends up getting the foul there on that last possession. But the next Celebrity Crush winner, number 7, looking into the WNBA. Shout out Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces as a Celebrity Crush winner for the 2024 season. Rem and Sam Pod. Unfortunately, the Aces not able to get the three-peat. I mean, they got back-to-back titles, people. Come on. As Aces fans, I think we're sleeping well at the end of the day. I don't know if it's an insight to what the Chiefs fans feel like because, for the Aces, maybe similar to the Chiefs in the fact that there was struggles this year. But again, the Aces actually the Aces were losing games. And actually in the seedings, they were down a little bit. They were the 3 or the 4? They were the 4 seed, right? Going into the playoffs. Is that why they played the Liberty in the round that they did? Or they were more of middle seed than they were top. They were 4 or 5 for the WNBA playoffs this year. The Chiefs are still actually finding ways to win games, and they're still probably going to get the 1 seed in the AFC. And at the end of the day, everything is still okay, even though it's ugly. The Aces, there were actual signs, and the matchup against the Liberty was actually kind of a tough matchup for him. What did they do against the Liberty in the regular season? Let me see if we can look that up here real quick. Because, again, Josh Allen has beaten the Chiefs in the past in the regular season. That is not new necessarily, or necessarily an indicator of them having playoff success. Plum Dog, KP, shout out. But, this year, maybe the Bills have been a little more on tier with the Chiefs week to week. So let's see if those were how dominant those performances were against the Liberty. Man, so yeah, they were swept by the Liberty in the regular season, the Aces. 8 points the first time, 12 the second time, 4 the next time, so they were getting closer. But then in the playoffs, of course, so the Liberty got him 7 out of 8 times. Wait. 6 out of 7 times, chat. The 1 win on the 6th time. Crazy. But again, the back-to-back titles. We can't be too mad that they didn't get the three-peat. Just, Brady said it. What's your favorite ring? It's the next one. But again, I think Aces fans were a little more prepared for... supposedly, we were a little more prepared for them getting beat. I guess we're not actually prepared for the processing of them losing. But we were prepared for the result happening anyways. And the Chiefs fans, I think, again, they still expect to, actually win. There's actually, legit hope. But anyways, the Aces just having the 3P and then being a competitive team and being at the centerpiece of the rise of the WNBA. Because, make no mistake, I know Caitlin Clark was a draw as a player, but the Aces are the number 1 draw as a team, right? And the Liberty, I think people were tuning in at them for the Liberty for sure. Like they're like word on the street was like, hey, this team is dominating. This team is good. Sabrina Ionescu draws a crowd. People, Breonna Stewart, Jonquil Jones, the New York Liberty draw a crowd, and the New York home crowd as well too. I mean, the Liberty fans, maybe the it's crazy that the Liberty fans are the best in sports, but like the Nets fans, where you at? But I guess a little, the lineage for those teams in their respective leagues are a little bit different. Excuse me. I guess the Nets would be eventually, if the WNBA gets like a second expansion team in New York, then that becomes the Brooklyn Nets. And people are like, oh man, how do we supplant the Liberty's legacy? Because I mean, the Liberty's legacy is growing as well. And with this title as well too, like that is a good point, chat. Like them getting a title, and maybe the league is a long ways away from a second expansion team in New York, and not like in a disrespectful way, just for New York to be, I guess maybe New York is a long ways from getting a second expansion team. That's a better way to phrase it. Like, not that the WNBA is a long way from getting to that point, but you know, just the cities that they would have to hit along the way before they cycled back around to New York. But maybe they would put New York back on the list as well sooner rather than later. Maybe New York is a secondary team in New York is still a better market than, like, you know, who knows? We don't want to start disrespecting cities, but I mean, you think like, I mean, they just put one in Toronto. Like, could Nashville get like a WNBA city? You know, maybe something down south as well too. There's not a WNBA team in Miami, is there? Right? No Miami WNBA team. We're missing out on that, chat. Maybe the starting five would just be the celebrity crush for 2025. But where Kelsey Plum is the celebrity crush at the moment from the WNBA. At least for now, chat. At least for now. But you know, there was some rumors as well too of, like, you know, what could this team look like potentially going into the off season or going into the next season? Like, is this not enough? Do we need to make some changes? But I don't know, chat. I don't know. It seems like running it back with that core would not necessarily be a bad idea. Like, I get if you have to build around the edges in some different ways, but even still, like, I feel like the Liberty were just dominant, chat, and they got good performances from some of the role players. So I mean, you know, if we remind ourselves of what actually happened, maybe we go back into the box score and look at the performances from some of the players and go, okay, if they have some better shooting performances here and here and here, you know, maybe the results are different. But I think the actual team itself is still okay. And they did have kind of a big loss as well too recently. With, you know, speaking of WNBA expansion, with the expansion draft, they lost Kate Martin in the expansion draft, which is kind of a good pick. Can we look that up real quick? What is the Valkyries roster? What did they end up getting, chat? Because I'm guessing it would be both Toronto and the Valkyries. So could we look up the Toronto roster too? But let's see who all they got. Carla Letty, Maria Condi, rookie. Okay, a couple of international rookies. So yeah, like Stephanie Talbot here, actually pulling her away from a WNBA team. But I guess these are newcomers into the league as well too. So wow, Golden State scouting overseas already. You love to see it. We're locked. I mean, chat. I mean, do we even have to say we love the color scheme, chat? We're literally wearing a hoodie with the same color. We're like pseudo representing the Valkyrie right now. You know, shout out to the Aces, the San Antonio, you know, roots back in the day, Becky Hammon as well. But I guess now. Are we live, chat? Are we like live cheating on the Aces with the Valkyrie? It's just what it is. I guess don't tell anybody. Do we need to like start a Patreon so we'll start a Patreon and be Valkyrie fans over there. No, we'll be lifelong Aces fans, chat. But I don't know, just something about this is good vibes. The Bay. The color scheme. It's just the Valkyrie. It's a cool name. The logo. It it's great branding. It's great team. But the Aces is great as well, too, for the city, the color scheme. And it kind of is like there's like a city theme. It's like the Aces, the Golden Knights. They're both kind of gold and in black. The Raiders are silver and black. So the Raiders, do we get a rebrand? Las Vegas. I guess the Raiders could describe what the casinos do to your pockets when you go over there as well, if they want to try to connect it into the casino themes. But it kind of all makes sense for that city. So I know it's not like, I guess the Valkyries and the Warriors are kind of connected, aren't they, chat? Because is a Valkyrie kind of like a lady warrior? Can we say that, chat? Is that like a Valkyrie? You know, is a Valkyrie a WNBA warrior? Is that what it is? So maybe the Warriors. I mean, do the Warriors need to switch to gold, black and purple, black and lavender? Yikes, chat. We need to go re-download Tinder right after this to reconfirm some stuff. But who else do we got here? Cecilia Zandalasini. Whoa, did we just get that, chat? Maybe we did. Oh, jeez. Kate Martin. Alana Rupert. Veronica Burton. Monica Billings. Julia Van Loo. Monica Billings. And the Kayla Thornton as well, too, pick. Kayla Thornton and Kate Martin. Those are two, real pieces. What do we got? Kayla Thornton, 9-year vet. Yeah, she'll be good if they get. So what do they get into? Is their pick for next year based on record then? Or do they automatically get the number 1 pick in next year's draft? How does that work, chat? How does that work for the NBA? Because I guess it would depend when you do the expansion. If you do the expansion before the draft, you would also get the number 1 pick. Because the Texans got the number 1 pick in the draft, and they were a new team. They hadn't played any seasons yet when they had drafted David Carr. But I don't know if the Valkyrie will also get the number 1 pick. Or the tempo. I don't know if the expansion teams will be 1 and 2 in the 2026 draft. So, wow, would the Valkyrie have a chance to get Paige Beckers? Oh, no, chat. Maybe we need to amend the 2024 Celebrity Crush list as well. Early 2025 Celebrity Crush watch list? Yikes. But if Paige Beckers is on the Valkyrie, we don't normally, we could get a Beckers jersey. We have to get a jersey from the Aces first. Our rule is as long as we have jerseys from our favorite teams, it's okay to get a jersey from another player. But make no mistake, I try to be as loyal as possible. Like, I don't actually have any jerseys. Like, I make the rule, I guess. Well, I have a Peyton Manning Broncos jersey, but like, that's, Peyton Manning's like, that's part of the family. So that one doesn't even count. Like, that's all in the same vein. So, like, I actually don't have another, like, I don't have like a LaMelo Ball Charlotte jersey. Obviously a Charlotte jersey, if you're going to get a jersey to wear around, like you're going to get a Charlotte jersey. So no, I don't, hot take. We've had enough hot takes with the Celebrity Crush list. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I think you're going to get a Charlotte jersey first. Maybe some kind of Heat alternate. Who knows? But I may be copping if they do like this. If you may see me in this color jersey if they start dropping it. But yeah, this is a solid team here, chat. So yeah, unfortunately for the Aces, they were not able to protect Kate Martin, I guess. What were WNBA draft expansion rules? Here we go. Shout out the Sporting News. The blog. They must drop the bag to get on the top of the AI. Maybe they're just good at their. We shouldn't assume, chat. They're good at their job. We always give credit. Gilbert McGregor, stud. Okay. They can protect up to 6 players. Okay, so who did the Aces protect? Because we assume that they... oh, geez, chat. The typing skills are way off right now. We assume the Aces protected their top 3. And I just don't know from the role players who they would have been able to protect from like a contract standpoint. Oh, geez, expansion draft. Shout out to academics, the #1 type and talker at the same time. We need to build up those skills as we go. Will this get us the protected players here? Because I know, well, no, Hamby. I was gonna say Dearica Hamby, but I think she used to be on the team, and that was a problem as to why she's not. Who was the role player? And who was the other? There was a couple of players that they had that stepped up big in the playoffs, and I'm just not remembering who they were. I low-key would... Oh, yeah, Chelsea Gray, obviously, you're going to chuck... I mean, yeah, they're stacked with that top 4. That's 4 spots right away you got to lock in. Like, you can't just let the Valkyrie have those guys. I mean, you're not giving those guys away. Oh, we would love to support all the local journalism we could. Let's see. Do we have to read this? They don't just give us a list? Final 2 protected player spots could have gone to Elizabeth Kelly and Kate Martin. Elizabeth Keatley? Kate Martin? Okay, wait. We're actually going to have to read. Oh, yeah. Tiffany Hayes. She was big for him in the playoffs for sure. Sydney Colson. Alicia Clark. Is that who she ended up going with? Yeah, chat. Low-key, I don't know. Kate Martin might have been worth the protect. Because with that 4, she's kind of exactly what they need. And the problem against going with the Liberty specifically was the size with that team as well, too. They have the 2 centers, Stewart and Jones, or, 2 forwards. Whatever. Oh, here we go. Is this a list of all the protected teams? I mean, we're going to turn into degenerate WNBA fans as well, too. We want to see the list of protected players. But anyways, the number... Oh, geez. The next person on our Celebrity Crush list of nominees. This one, we'll talk more about this person upcoming because they just announced that their deluxe for the SOS album is dropping soon, I believe before the end of the year. Maybe Friday, chat. Who knows? They just dropped another... SZA is the next person on our Celebrity Crush watch list, or nominee list. And mainly because of the SOS album. I mean, SZA, of course. Fantastic person, but fantastic human being. Great. I'm sure the charity work is all there. But okay, here's an article predicting the 6 players, so this will at least be a guideline. Anyways, shout out CBS Sports. But I mean, SOS, I mean, like we said in the last episode in the Spotify Wrapped recap, SOS had the most songs for our album. Make no mistake, the overnight replay value, falling asleep, and it stays on, it replays. But I mean, that definitely helped, but it had the most songs in our top 100 for the year. SZA landing in our top 10 for an artist. And I guess with this potential deluxe dropping sooner rather than later. Wow, look, so this article even projected that they would protect her as one of the 6, along with Clark. So I guess they protected Tiffany Hayes as well. Sportstrack.com. Sportstrack.com! But, yeah, I mean, SOS, like we were saying, mainstay album, has to be mentioned. And SZA just has to be mentioned when we're talking about our year for 2024, the REMINGTOM pod. And Sam was saying as well, too, that was SZA in Naya's top 5? So, Sam, like we were saying, being in the car with not, just with that being engaged to get married. Like, make no mistake, she's definitely playing SZA when Sam is around. So I think, make no mistake, Sam would wholeheartedly agree. I mean, should we have consulted? I get this is a one-sided list. IT. This is Rev and IT. Like we said, Sam was not a part of this idea. But I think SZA would probably be up on the list for him as well, too. For 2024, for the music being in rotation, for her being a mainstay MVP of the culture, for us anyways. She'll be, I guess, I don't know what the rules are going to be going forward, chat, like repeat-wise. Have there been multiple sexiest men alive? I think there has been a... Did Leo win it a couple of times? Or Brad Pitt, maybe? Won it a couple times? But Guffsist and unprotected? Okay, so they have protection on these. Can we see who the free agents are? So I guess, yeah, you wouldn't be able to protect a free agent, but they would have potential rights. Okay, so yeah, Plum, Hayes, and Clark were all free agents. So maybe you're still able to put some protection on the free agent aspect as well. But just saying you don't have to protect the free agent. Oh, 9 seconds left, chat. Suggs for the 3. Down 3. Not able to get it to go. Once we get to rambling about SZA, it's just what it is. SZA honestly would have been higher up on the list, but SOS dropped like 2 years ago now at this point. So it's like, that's how good SOS is. That's how much legs the album has. Is that SZA is still, Celebrity Crush watch list this year based on the fact that SOS has been on the rotation this much for me and Sam. But we'll speak more about SOS and all that stuff when the deluxe for that drops, and we'll react to that. But top 5 people, or just the next part of the list. Everybody, we love everybody equally. But if you're flipping through the pages anyways, I guess you would, if you were reading the magazine backwards, this would be who's paying, chat. Because I think people would pay for Sexiest Man Alive as well too. But let's see if there's been a repeat winner for that. JFK Jr. Just a legendary. Was he like the Mahomes run? Just 4 times. He just won 3 years in a row. Every year they're like, well, I guess it just has to be JFK Jr. Whoa, chat. Hopefully there's no kids on the stream. We don't want to start exposing certain Wikipedia pages. Do we have to go list? Should we be doing this incognito, chat? Do we want this in our algorithm? Here we go. Oh, see, that's the thing with Wikipedia. Just, you know what I'm looking for. Just recommend. Mel Gibson, 85. Is this the list here? Okay, yeah, so 1 year they tried it in 2014, and apparently that the list was like, maybe 2014, the culture was not ready for that. But I guess 10 years later, we're trying it again, the Celebrity Crush list. We'll see what the reaction is. Will they give us a... Oh, Richard Gere? Okay, Richard Gere, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and Johnny Depp. Yep, that makes a lot of sense, chat. Those are the... I guess, maybe we need to get, like, Idris Elba a second one. Okay, we had... I mean, chat, are we screwed as a society? We are. I mean, we're probably screwed in a lot of ways. But if this just does not show you the lens at which everybody views everything through, when we were at kind of peak sort of conversation, and not to just say that, and, don't cancel us, chat, but we're, you know what we're saying here. Like, there's some obvious trends with this list. If you go, oh, Johnny Depp, Ryan Reynolds, Bradley Cooper, Channing Tatum, Adam Levine, Chris Hemsworth, David Beckham, Dwayne The Rock, shout out. Blake Shelton, what's going on here? There's a common pattern with all these guys. Let's go back even farther. I mean, let's just basically read out the entire list outside of Denzel in 96. I mean, that's just how much of a stud Denzel is that he's just so, and let's touch, Chad, not to say that anybody else has not achieved this level, but it's just to compliment Denzel Denzel's our favorite, but favorite actor. But it's like, is this what it took, chat? Is like, people can't just be equal. And then we go right back. Paul Rudd. I mean, we're right back to it, chat. Right back to it. Paul Rudd, Chris Evans, Pat Dempsey, John Krasinski. I mean, the white all-stars, chat. Literally the white all-stars. Paul Rudd, Patrick Dempsey. I mean, maybe we're underrating the reach of Grey's Anatomy, but with the with the field work that we've done, it seems like Patrick Dempsey has a certain audience. Same with The Office is pretty iconic. John Kay, but Michael Scott, I think maybe transcends a few more cultures than John Kay does. But The Quiet Place is pretty iconic as well too. But 2025, we'll see if 2025, if we go another 6 years, because it's not even about that, chat. It's just like, we know what's happening out there. So, going back to what we were saying earlier in an industry thing, like maybe the white guys are paying for this stuff. Like maybe in white culture, magazine covers mean more. Like maybe it's just what it is. So obviously, I don't know the history of this stuff and how much Mel Gibson was flipping the bill for this cover back in the day. But I remember hearing something about some magazine shoot being like $500K for the cover. I'm trying to think of, was that, I guess I want to start just citing random sources and throwing this on them, but there was like one cover shoot that we heard that somebody had like paid like $500K to be on the cover for that for. And it was like an awardsy type cover. Like maybe it was even the Sexiest Man Alive cover, but it was still, them dropping the bag to be like, hey, let's give you the award. So, maybe that's just what it is, chat. Maybe the culture is just like, screw that. We don't care. Which is like, I would not blame him. Like, absolutely. Nobody should care about actually being the Sexiest Man Alive cover. But just in, I guess, the theory of how all this stuff is working and operating, like, we see the moves that people are making. Like, if we get another whitey here for 6 in a row, like, that's just not right. Like, that's not representative of what's going on. Like, it's like somebody would have, somebody had to have the year. Like, what's going on here? Plus, no athletes as well, too, is kind of crazy. Outside of David Beckham, was he playing in 2015? I don't think he was. I mean, like, do we need to bring a lady in here to make these next couple of points? But, like, we can't like, put LeBron on this cover. Like, LeBron hasn't accomplished enough. Because, again, like the Celebrity Crush list, it is a little bit of, kind of a year thing as well, too. Like, did a guy have a year? At least I think it used to be. I don't know if it is so much anymore. Like, shout out to John Kay. But, like, was this the best John Kay year? Like, was 2024 a good John Kay year? Like, I don't know. Like, 2022 was Evans. Was that, like, Endgame and stuff? So, Avengers was pretty peak there. I guess Grey's Anatomy is still, just for it's still going. It's like Patrick Dempsey, shout out. We got to give him a run at some point. But, like Shelton in 2017. The Rock in 2016. Like, that's a perfect, like, The Rock was everywhere. Like, #1 megastar, but also, the fitness and all that stuff. Like, that made a ton of sense. Yeah, like Levine in 2013, peak Maroon 5. Like, again, it is a little bit trying to be representative of the times. But, have anybody of these guys, have they not done enough? Is it just actors? I guess because we haven't even had, like, a musician, right? Am I crazy? Are there rules, chat, that we can look at? Should we know the rules? I guess the only thing that we're locked in on is really who gets it every year. Pause, chat. No homo. But it's just what it is. It just is in our feed, and we can't help it. It's not like we like the post, chat. We just look at it when we scroll past and go, huh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, John K. this year. Shout out. But I guess JFK Jr. not an actor necessarily. Does he have film credits that we don't know about? But I guess like Adam Levine as well too. More musicians. Shelton. So yeah, like no real musicians, no athletes. There's just a large pool that they're missing from. So maybe, I mean, this is peak industry right here, and make no mistake, Hollywood and magazines and all that stuff is about as tied into the industry as you can get from, you know, a person that knows nothing about the industry trying to just from the outside looking in. Like, that's, if we know anything about the industry, it's like the film industry is it, and the magazines and all that stuff is, yeah, super tied in. So it would make sense that they would lean this way. But still. Anyway, speaking of magazines, and like we were saying, I know we were trying to keep this to maybe like 2024, you know, accomplish the high achievers for the calendar year. But this is a personal, you know, there is a little bias in here as well too. Like, it's just, it is what it is, chat. Even if we lie, like, it would be useless, because it would be just that. You would see right through the lie. And I think the best thing to do would just be honest and tell you guys that this next pick is definitely biased for our 2024, but it's just what it is. They were a prevalent presence throughout the year. Number 5, the next spot, Marilyn Monroe, chat. Marilyn Monroe sneaking in top 10 celebrity crushes 2024. The legend lives on, but I don't know, chat. There was just, again, going back to the summer, shout out. I guess it was first take in the mornings, and then when we were just on our old movie kick, we were like, okay, let's go way back into some of these movies. Because, again, I think we've shouted out this pod a bunch, but shout out the We Might Be Drunk pod with Mark Norman and Sam Morrell. That's, when we talk about movies, that's a pod that'll come up a lot. Same with Tuesdays with Stories. Those are the big, like, they talk about movies a lot. They'll recommend a lot of movies. But, again, specifically for, like, the older movies, Sam Morrell is, you know, like, he'll go back, chat. He'll go black and white, like 30s, 40s, 50s. He's not afraid to, you know, really dip back into history with some of the movie choices. So listen to him to make a couple of recommendations. It got us into, like, kind of a bug to be like, and they were talking about some of their favorite older actors and actresses as well too. So I was like, well, who are just some, like, older actresses that I would just know of and, like, could just do a filmography run of? And, well, what do you know, chat? The first one that comes to mind was, like, Marilyn Monroe. And I was like, oh, you know what? I've never actually, like, watched Marilyn Monroe in a movie. Like, Marilyn Monroe might be the most famous person of, like, things we never actually consumed. That's an interesting list, chat. We need to write that down. Like, the top 10 people, like, most famous people, but it's like we've never, like, I mean, like, not done or not seen or heard or whatever of anything that they've ever done is a little aggressive. But, you know, like, not, like, actually consume the content and the work that they put out. Like, you know, like Elvis Presley, chat. Like, we're not actually, like, listening to Elvis Presley songs. But, you know, Elvis Presley is, like, you know, pop culture, like a top 10 most famous star from the 90s. Like, was Elvis Presley peak more popular than Michael Jordan? But, like, you know, we're going to go back and watch an old Michael Jordan game more than we would listen to an old Elvis Presley song, like the Michael Jordan shoes, like just basketball in general, like all that. Like, yeah, obviously MJ would be, you know, like Eddie Murphy, you know, like Frank Sinatra, like, even, yeah, they're going back to, like, older music with, like, Elvis Presley. Like, yeah, Frank Sinatra, not as famous as Elvis Presley, just from a popularity standpoint, legacy standpoint, even though it's probably pretty close. But still, you got Elvis is Elvis. Like, you got to give him the nod. And maybe it's just our grandma influencing it. But in her case, it would be close, but I think it would still be Elvis over Frank Sinatra. It'd be Elvis number 1, chat. Make no mistake. For the grandmas out there, Elvis is number 1. But, you know, I would listen to more Frank Sinatra. I wouldn't listen to Elvis at all. But yeah, we would listen to Frank Sinatra, and he would be in the old music rotation. So, like, what would be our number 1 celebrities for that type of list. You know, like Van Gogh, like we're not really looking at Van Gogh paintings that much. But, you know, Marilyn Monroe would have been on that list for what celebrities are are like super famous, but we've just never seen anything that they've ever been in or done or heard or whatever. And we fixed that this year, chat. We made sure to shout out to Tubi. Tubi might be a celebrity crush for this year. Stephen A., Freddie Gibbs, and Tubi is like the alternate list that's forming here. But with some of those old school movies, like there's a couple of Marilyn Monroe ones on there. And I don't even know, you know, chat, with the culture these days. And I know, you know, make no mistake, Donnie T just got elected. So I feel like we're free to recommend any movie that we any movie plot that we want. But, you know, still. But the number one like critical movie that we saw that was on here for Marilyn Monroe was this one called it's called Some Like It Hot. And it's, I mean, make no mistake, chat, for people that still don't know a lot about this era, what was this? 59? not the era of history that we're most caught up on when it comes to Hollywood and movies. Cinema history, chat. But I mean, we do know Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, Billy Wilder directing. Like, these are iconic names for Hollywood history, chat. So we were like, this is an easy way to start the Marilyn Monroe pause, easy entry point. But it's the IMDb recap summary for the movie is, after two male musicians witness a mob hit, they flee the state in an all-female band disguised as women, but further complications set in. So basically, the further complications are Marilyn Monroe. Tony Curtis sees Marilyn Monroe and has to. It's like a rom-com of Tony Curtis trying to figure out how to be, you know, a guy trying to flirt with Marilyn Monroe versus, you know, trying to be a girl in this band that Marilyn Monroe is in, on the run from these mobsters after witnessing this hit. And he's got Jack Lemmon as the sidekick, being funny the whole time, you know, Billy Wilder, of course. It honestly put us more on like a Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon run than it did a Marilyn Monroe one. For the boys, it's just what it is. But still, we got this one in for Marilyn Monroe movies. And there's a couple other ones on here as well that are iconic for Marilyn Monroe's filmography. I guess they're kind of all iconic because there's not a lot to choose from. Yikes, chat. But, you know, shout out. Hopefully, you know, we can honor the legacy that is there with all the, you know, ups and downs of it, chat. And I don't even, and, you know, it's like the outside influences. You know, we all know the Marilyn Monroe story, chat. It's tragic, but hopefully these movies can live on. And it's, again, one of those things, like, she has lived on, of course, as a person, and, you know, I mean, obviously. But the movies themselves, even though, like, they were critically acclaimed and all that, like, you know, you don't hear people bringing them up as, like, iconic movies from back in the day, because make no mistake, there are still, like, movies. Like, I mean, you know, speaking of Wicked that just dropped out, like Wizard of Oz, and maybe that's the number one example of, like, movies that have aged. Maybe that is, like, the only movie from the 30s and 40s and 50s that has, like, actually lived on outside of, like, Disney animated movies. Snow White 39, shout out. But, you know, you just don't, like, hear about that in, you know, film circles, and, like, you don't hear about film people bringing up, like, oh yeah, Marilyn Monroe, like, those movies are worth rewatches. So, you know, maybe it is, like, some of the political stuff. I don't know, Chad. But, you know, even still, like, I don't know if there's, you know, I don't want to start making claims like there's nothing, like, distasteful in this movie, because, you know, I've only seen it a couple times and for the first time this year. So, like, the entire plot of the movie is not stuck in my head. And make no mistake, chat, like, we're scum of society. Like, if things might not necessarily, there might be some political things that might just, you know, go over our heads sometimes. It's just, you know, we do our best, chat. It's not like we're not trying. It's just, you know, sometimes it is what it is. But you know, for two, it is like pretty straightforward. Just that, like, the concept is more the rom-commy, like them being dressed up on the run like that is more a vehicle for like that rom-com setting, like we were saying, of that dynamic of him going back and forth, than, you know, like not trying to like make a political statement or anything like that. And you know, it's a, you know, shout out to we love everybody here on the Remington podcast. We're all big fans. But Marilyn Monroe. Anyways, maybe talking about it makes it worse. But Marilyn Monroe, shout out. The movies are great. The performances are iconic. And like we were saying, that run in the summer, along with First Take, will be one of the things that, for us anyways, we remember about 2024. So she had to be mentioned for a 2024 celebrity crush list as well, too. Marilyn Monroe. Who doesn't have a celebrity crush on Marilyn Monroe? I feel like again, I mean, she's timeless, people. Everybody, she's like Cleopatra. Literally, chat. Like, people are like, oh yeah, Cleopatra's cool. Like, people are going to be, you know, emerging from the bunkers in the year 3000. Like, Marilyn Monroe? You guys heard about Marilyn Monroe? What are the things that you remember about society before? iPhones, and we had Netflix, and oh yeah, Marilyn Monroe. The NBA and Marilyn Monroe. Like, those will be the things that live on, chat. And, you know, Tupac and Biggie. Illmatic. They'll be listening to Illmatic talking about Marilyn Monroe in the year 3500. In the year 3000, when the Jonas Brothers show up, that's what they'll be listening to. Unfortunately, not the Jonas Brothers. It'll be Illmatic and Ready to Die, Me Against the World. And they'll be talking about the days when Marilyn Monroe was a movie star. Maybe those aren't the best movie star days to talk about again, chat, but, you know, they'll remember the good times. Anyways, number 4. The next person on the list, as we're in another pretty decent battle here, chat, in the NBA Cup. Thunder, 21-20. The Thunder are up on the Mavs with about 3.5 minutes left here in the first. Speaking of Luka versus Giannis, maybe Luka proves to us that he's the number 2 player in the league right now. And, you know, number 2 versus number 3. It's pretty close. But still, we would have Giannis in kind of his own, respectfully, his own tier. Like, Jokic, like, they're so close next to each other. It's, to me, Giannis and Jokic are closer than Luka and Giannis. And I don't know if that's a hot take. Like, to me, that's just a normal take. Like, it's that's the thing about takes, chat. It's like, that's just how I feel. But, you know, maybe to some people, that's not necessarily the way to go. But number 4, we're going back to music, going back to albums that have been in the rotation for 2024, and especially in the later half of the year, in the fall, and as the winter months heat up here. An album that has songs that fit all the vibes, but has some cozy songs as well. Yeah, it's a timeless album, chat. It's a seasonless album. You can play it at any time of the year. But Doechii, with, I guess, a mixtape in Alligator Bites Never Heal, her first big mixtape, gets, of course, nominated for Best Grammy at this upcoming Grammys in 2025. And, you know, as we do the year-end list, chat, maybe this is another one, the album specifically, you know, we might mention that a little bit more as we do our year-end list, because make no mistake, the Celebrity Crush list is not the only list that we're doing. We're also going to do a top 10 album of the year list. So I guess, you know, maybe I guess not like a spoiler alert, but a lookout alert anyways for Doechii. And I guess if you listen to the album, it's not even a spoiler alert. Like, there is and I guess we were saying earlier, like, it probably is going to be a little bit bigger than a top 10 list. So, I mean, if it's bigger than top 10, you know that Doechii is going to be on it for sure. Because that's just how strong this album was. Again, it was nominated for Best Album at the Grammys. So, not really spoiling it by saying that this was one of the better projects of 2024. But the replay value has only continued to increase for us, chat. Again, this album really hits just high-level rapping performances to R&B stuff. And shout out to the NFR pod, Ant and Lou over there. Call in one of these days, boys, if you ever hear about us. But I think it was Lou that was talking about the Doechii album recently on one of their live streams, and he was talking about her versatility as well too, which was something I was going to mention when we talk about the year-end lists and talk about the albums. But since he was stepping on the takes already, shout out, he can have them. Well, yeah, they can take the takes anyways. But her versatility, he was comparing it to kind of Lauryn Hill-esque, with just you could get like a high level actually like rapping performances where there's like actual like real bars, like like could we go into Genius and like start breaking down these bars, but then there's the R&B and there's the melodic stuff as well too, and just her range, you can really see it on this project. So going forward, I think she's got an album as well too slated for 2025 potentially, like an actual debut album. So she could just go on these routes with the album where she gives you this variety, but then she could also give you an R&B album or a rap album or a pop album if she wanted to. Like she really has versatility to go with kind of any sort of lane of music she wants to go with. And I believe that he had said that she was the best like young up and coming rapper right now. And I guess I don't know where he's putting like other certain people with maybe more projects under their belt at this point. But even still, like number of projects set aside, like just that skill set, it is a little like, Wembenyama-ish with, and I don't know what the rap equivalent is of like the freakish like height, like the freakish skill set, which is like, because I guess there are like, maybe there are creative elements to hip. There obviously are creative elements to hip hop. You're like, this person is operating on a level that like, obviously I'm not going to make a hip hop album the level of like Kanye or Kendrick, of course. Like, there are things that they can tap into, maybe just, I don't know if DNA is the right word or whatever, but like, they're tapping into the universe in some way to get these music things. Like they just have a key that we were not given. And, not to, again, put it into that category. 'Cause some people will say that to like discredit hard work. Like we're not saying that, but it is like, it's just like it's an admiration of their skill set in saying that as well. But, even if you're putting in like Jid or Denzel Curry or, Big the Plug, shout out Glorilla, if we're putting in these people that, maybe have a little bit more projects under their belt, like I don't even think it matters in that conversation as well too. Like if we're just talking like Jid versus Doechii, like, skill set, like if it was like an NBA Brandon Miller versus Wemby type of debate, Brandon Miller, a Paolo versus Wemby type debate, what would it be? Like she does have the skill set again to literally do everything, and her ear production is great. And her messaging as well too. Like you tell she has the messaging along with the cleverness in the rhymes, and she's funny, and just her singing voice is absolutely tremendous. Like the dynamic of her going from the rapping to the singing is crazy. Where, there are, of course, like, artists can have that range. Like shout out to Nicki. Like Nicki can have the range. She'll give you a melodic performance. She'll give you bars. But, what Lauryn Hill was doing melodically is just probably, I think maybe the NFR has said it themselves as well too. It's maybe the best melodic in hip hop. You can maybe, one of the best voices of all time, just straight up. Shout out to, shout out Nicki has a great voice as well too. We're saying, one of the greatest voices of all time as well. But, we get it with what we're saying with Lauryn Hill. Like Doechii is actually vocally in that, I think, kind of potential tier. In this, project, of course, was electric. She'll only continue to get better from here. So it is scary to think about because she can make a hit and she can make an album. And, all the young guys that I just mentioned there as well too, like they can do that, but this was her first one. And for it to be this strong on the first one out, it's like, okay, we're maybe witnessing the emergence of the next icon. And it's like, okay, yeah, she's already iconic. Like she's already here and emerged. But again, it's that like all-time stuff of, oh, now we're on watch. Like, oh yeah, Doechii is here and she's going to be a presence in the game. Like to get nominated out the gate is just such a scary thing. It's such a scary thing for the rest of the industry because you know, again, as an artist, like we would only expect you to get better. Like that's kind of, and it's not just, I guess, we you know, we want you to get better. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's just the growth of a person. Like, you know, pause. Like that's just, you know, artistic development. Like as time goes on and as you accumulate skills and as you refine your skill set, like we would assume that the product that you're putting out continues to become a better version of itself. And if the industry is already recognizing it right away as like the best in the business, it's like, okay, well, yeah, she's just a lock now, I guess, every year, if this is the baseline for quality that we're going to get. I mean, obviously, you know, whatever, she could dip down, you know, the fall off, it, you know, who cares? It could happen. But just what we expect is the artistic progression to continue to evolve, for her to continue to be a mainstay. And this album has just, it's just continued to move up the ranking. And maybe, and you know, I guess it dropped in, I think, like August as well too. So we always put it in, I think, a little bit lower, and then kind of it moves its way up. I think that's natural if you're trying to compare albums amongst itself. But yeah, Chad, I mean, it's a strong album. It's just one of the albums that we've been really bumping a lot lately. And it's, you know, it's like every time you bump it, you're like, oh, I guess this is just a new song that I'm also going to be, when I'm just moving the playlists and queuing random songs, like, I guess this is the song from Doechii that's in the queue now. And she started to do a little like press as well with some of the late night shows, and there's been some live performances. So, you know, some of those have started to work into the algorithm. It's not just, you know, listening to her on Spotify. You know, she's making a push here, I think. Because, you know, I guess we'll do the Grammy preview and all that stuff, but yeah. Anyways, the Doechii album is incredible. The Doechii album is incredible. Her year is incredible. So she has to be mentioned for the celebrity crush list as well. But at number 3, you know, as we podium chat, as we get near the end of our celebrity crush list. Speaking of podium, Suni Lee, chat, from the Olympics. Was it a silver medal, bronze medal, chat? Olympic medalist. And I'm a bad gymnast fan. I don't even remember what was the oh geez, chat. We should have researched. We should have probably actually looked up proper pronunciation as well too. We're bad with pronunciation sometimes. It's Suni Lee, chat. I just don't want to be disrespectful. But I mean, just an incredible story as well, too, because, again, we know what she battled just from a health standpoint in trying to get into, you know, just being back to even, you know, one, just living a normal life, and then to even, like, be competing in sports, and then to do it at a high level, but just the Olympic level as well, too, is incredible. Trying to figure out what the medal was, the category was that she medaled in as well too. Let me see. And she now has 5 just Olympic medals under her belt as well. And okay, she got a gold in the team event this year, in the Paris. A bronze in the all-round. Okay, so self-explanatory. All the events combined. And then the uneven bars. Okay, that was the skill that I was thinking of. Because, again, all-round is everything. But the uneven bars. So, Suni Lee, a stud on the uneven bars at the 2024 Paris Olympics. You love to see it, chat. And, you know, again, just has been a presence in media outside of the Olympics. I think the rise in fame has definitely been there. So I think if we're talking just figures 2024, who's defined 2024? I mean, especially from the athletic standpoint as well, too, Chad. I mean, might just straight up be the athletic MVP for 2024 with the accomplishments that I think she got probably outweigh most of the accomplishments that I think have been achieved throughout the year. It's just incredible to see. But here we go, chat. It's drumroll time as we're on the podium for the top 2 celebrity the next celebrity crushes. for 2024. And I mean, in all fairness, we probably should have had this next person at number 1. But, you know, the list, it had to be true to us. So it is what it is. But, I mean, you know, Sonny Lee, the athletic MVP of 2024, but, you know, celebrity crush MVP of 2024. Just in general. Maybe this is maybe it's a tie, chat. It's a tie. It's a tie. It's a photo. Can we call one of them back in for the photo shoot and then do like a 2-person cover? It's just what it is. But Miss Kamala Harris, shout out 2024. I mean, again, athlete, you know, the sports will be defined by Sonny Lee, but the year 2024 will be defined by Donnie T and Kamala Harris. Make no mistake, one of the most iconic presidential face-offs we've ever seen. You know, unfortunately, it's just Miss Kamala Harris at this point. But, you know, who knows what the future holds? And, again, you know, respectfully, professionally, this is a professional list, chat, but Kamala Harris, you know, she's a fun time. She's a good time, chat. I think she would, make no mistake, she would definitely laugh at it, but I think she would enjoy the recognition of being co-celebrity crush for the 2024 year. Because, again, I think her, and I say this as a compliment, but her character was one of the things that was like really charming about her. Was like, we started just getting these clips of just like, you know, I mean, there was like some of the quotes that were like people would get in the news and like get blown out of proportion. I would see the quote and I'm like, this is like endearing. Like, I actually kind of love this. Like, who hasn't fallen out of a coconut tree? Like, yeah, that person probably has. Like, that's a great quote. I'm using that. Like, let's get that in rotation. Like, and I'm not even, you know, this is not a pandering pod chat. It was just one of those things. It was just one of those things. I was like, I actually just find this person like legitimately kind of endearing and charming. And there was this one clip that really did it. And it was It was this clip of her like baking and her like trying to figure out how to set up. Like, the video was her like trying to figure out how to get the video going. And like, oh, like, let me get this started. Are you there? Like, oh, get the flour in. Let's go. And like, I was watching this person bake muffins. Is that a pause? That might be a pause. But bake cake, I mean, it's all bad, chat. But watching this person whip up some dessert, and it was like, I mean, how is this not the next president of the United States, chat? But I don't know. Maybe there's more that goes into it than just that. Who knows? But as young, dumb people, it's just what it is. We got swept up in the baking clips in the coconut trees, and she became one of the celebrity crushes for 2024. It's just what it is. We can't help it. Our algorithm and our texts were flooded with Kamala Harris messages. Not the messages we'd want to get. Pause. Whoa. Do we have to take a lap on that one? I gotta get out of the screen to make sure I'm okay. I don't want the Secret Service to start firing into the camera, chat. That is crazy. My apologies to Mr. Doug Emhoff. I didn't mean to imply anything. I know, you know, it's politics, so they might not be happily married. But, you know, they seem to have a good time when they're on the red carpet next to each other. But anyways, chat. Hey, yo. I guess a lot of our messages were from Tim Walls as well, too. But anyway, shout out the 2024 rise of Kamala Harris. I mean, again, if we're talking celebrity crushes, it would be the number one. How would you not have Kamala Harris in the top, top 2, right, chat? Top 2. But again, if we're being true to ourselves, there is just one celebrity crush, chat, that had to be number 1 on our list for 2024. IT was in the mix as well too. We made sure to get the voice of the people in on here as well. So it's not just it's biased. I think the people definitely agree. But this would have been my vote for, maybe Kamala Harris for other things, but for celebrity crush, if I only had to pick, I guess before it became co-headliners, chat, the Celebrity Crush MVP of 2024. Drum roll, chat. Angel Reese, shout out. It's just what it is. The WNBA. I mean, it was the year of the WNBA. The year of, I mean, I guess Kamala Harris probably would have been number one on the list if she was coaching in the WNBA. We're just degenerate basketball fans, Chad. It's just what it is. If Kamala Harris had played in like a pickup game, like Obama, I mean, that might have locked it in. Forget the Rogie appearance. Play a pickup game. Donnie T was in there at McDonald's. Get out like a Papa shot, like a little Papa shot at a Dave and Buster's. I mean, I vote for whichever president I see playing basketball. That's basically my standard, chat. And oh well, I guess maybe it could potentially get tested depending on the candidate at the Papa shot, but even still, it would be hard. It would be hard not to pass. It'd be hard to do. Once we see a basketball introduced, it's just we're blind, chat. We're blind. Don't get too extreme with roasting us on that. Only for the jokes, but I guess jokes are jokes. But obviously, we would if we saw something crazy going down, we'd be like, wait a second, okay, real life is taking place here. But I guess maybe a presidential election is real life and one of those things that we should notice. But if Kamala Harris was in like the WNBA if the WNBA did a celebrity game at the All-Star weekend, I mean, I would have figured out how to throw down 2 votes, chat. I would have figured it out. Might not have been as hard in this election as people, with some of the rumors that were out there. But anyways, we're talking about Angel Reese, our celebrity crush for 2024. It's just what it is, chat. The Chicago Sky. I mean, we've made more of an effort to work around the blackout to watch the Chicago Sky than we did than we are doing to watch the Chicago Bulls. And again, with the rise of the WNBA, like Angel Reese is as much a part of that as Caitlin Clark because, like Angel Reese is, I what I was gonna say is, you need kind of that counterpart sometimes to help elevate the other person, but that's not really the right way to phrase it because I think Angel Reese, we're Celebrity Crush of 2024. Like she's a megastar in her own right. And, going back to where we started with the Hawk Tua thing and, that is not the right way to phrase it as well, Chad, too. Like I don't stand by that statement. It's not a good statement. That's why I was struggling, with not saying it, but just so you guys know the thought process, the thoughts that are, we're filtering in all the thoughts, chat. It's like, okay, that one's a bad one. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. We'll figure it out. But the Hawk Tua, like what we were saying with the Hawk Tua chick, with her making, the right business moves, and it's like her putting in her, she's in this spot here, and it's like, oh, now we're moving up to here. We did the performances. We've proven that we're good on pods. Now there's some momentum behind us on these shows. Well, now we're gonna release our own pod. And we got a good guest or two lined up for the start, and we're going to work our way into getting this thing rolling. And it's just like all the right progressive moves to, kind of set up a little bit of a career, and not even just a little bit of like an actual career as well too. And Angel Reese, like as a business person in basketball, is maybe the best business person active. And LeBron, of course, like LeBron and Steph have, like basketball careers, they have legacies of playing basketball as well too. Like they have the on-court legacies, they also have the off-court legacies. Like LeBron has put in more time, of course, with the business stuff and building his brand, so he's just achieved more, just again as a virtue of where he's at on the timeline. But if you're just looking at, pound for pound the moves that are being made or in the career, like there's just an endorsement here and a business deal here and partnering with these brands here and brands that make sense. And, it just seems like she's always doing a really good job and getting her name out and building her brand. And, the reason I don't think that the counterpart to elevate Caitlin Clark is the right point, because again, like she is a megastar in her own right. And I feel like, is it crazy to say that she is as big of a star as Caitlin Clark? And, you may say like moving tickets and all that stuff. Like I get what we saw with Caitlin Clark from that standpoint. And at the end of the day, that's a moneymaker, and there's the TV viewership and all that stuff. But also the other big games that we've seen from a viewership standpoint that she's been in have been those matchups, against Angel Reese. And it's not just because she's her counterpart. It's because Angel Reese is also a megastar in her own right. And it's these two megastars like actually battling it out against each other. And Angel Reese entered the WNBA right away and made an impact right away and had the Chicago Sky in the playoff mix when she was playing, and they probably would have made the playoffs if she had stayed healthy there at the end of the season, if we remember how that shook out correctly. But if I recall right, then they were on pace to make it in. So her impact was appearing equal as Caitlin Clark. And I don't want to say that it wasn't, because again, Caitlin Clark was responsible for a little bit more like actually running the offense. So there may be a little bit more of a learning curve for her impact to actually start showing up versus what Angel Reese is able to do is a little bit more immediate. And then but if the shooting translates right away, then that's one thing. So, that is a credit to Angel Reese that her skill set is as translatable as is. Like the shooting for Caitlin Clark, it's a little bit down throughout the season as it was. Again, it's adjustments. We're all in on Caitlin Clark for the upcoming seasons. It's not saying anything like that, but I think you have to give as much credit in this to Angel Reese. It's just what it is. They are Magic and Bird for this era for the WNBA. Like the way you talk about Magic and Bird simultaneously, like you kind of have to talk about Reese and Clark the same way. Like their impact for the brand, for the WNBA, for the product on the court as well too, is I think equally been as felt. And maybe again, it's just personally for me, like we're saying, I'm making the effort to go watch Angel Reese. Like I'm the one guy in Iowa, and this is not a popular opinion in Iowa as well too, people. Make no mistake. Like this is another reason we're not having Sam on the chat tonight, because as an Iowa fan, I just don't know. I feel like Sam's probably okay with Angel Reese, but most in general, like a general rule of thumb for Iowa fans, and you can get into a different kind of debate, but it's a basketball thing for the people that I know anyways. Like there's the basketball rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is real. Like there's real, like, oh yeah, like when we see Caitlin Clark, like, and they're just rooting for Caitlin Clark against everybody against everybody. But like you can feel the basketball rivalry between those two players in the state. And again, I want to give the home state the benefit of the doubt. Like it is a basketball thing for us, again, for the circles that I'm in as well too. Like, and I guess the circles that I'm in, like they're probably like me. They're a little more probably rooting for Angel Reese a little bit more than probably rooting against her. But all that being said, the 2024 Celebrity Crush MVP chat is Angel Reese. There you go. We did it, chat. The first ever Celebrity Crush Awards for the did we say 2023? 2024 year in culture. I guess we're just trying to remember when times are good, chat, back in the day. But wow, what a list. Just to recap, I guess starting from our crowning champion at the end of the day, Angel Reese, Kamala Harris, a co-headliner, Mrs. Kamala Harris. Shout out, Doug. Mrs. Kamala Harris is a co-headliner. Sunny Lee, Doechii, Marilyn Monroe, SZA, Kelsey Plum, Dua Lipa, Molly from First Take, shout out. And then a little tie at the last spot, Hawk Tuah and Glorilla, rounding out our Celebrity Crush list for 2024. You know what? I feel good. The air feels good. I don't feel any kind of... I felt like we kept it professional and respectful throughout the entire live stream. So that was the goal, check. Because again, this is a professional, respectful list. The professional Celebrity Crush of 2024. Yeah, I think we did it. IT says everything sounds good, and maybe we run this back again next year, chat. Because guess what? The odds are we're still going to have Celebrity Crushes in 2025. I don't think that's going to change. So, shout out to Angel Reese, man. It's just what it is. The Celebrity Crush of 2024. But the countdown continues as the year comes to a close here. We'll be, like I said, counting down albums, counting down, well, we'll have a list or two in there for you. Some more awards to hand out before the end of the year, chat. But the end of this NBA Cup game is, I guess, we're in the second quarter here. Second quarter just starting, so we got a ways to go. But Thunder Mavs, it looks like it's going to be a good one. So we better get to it, chat. We've got to lock in on this second data cast and make sure we're crunching all these numbers. The Thunder went on a little bit of a run there, but Mavs are back down 5 with 6 minutes left. So as long as Luka's in, it's going to be competitive. They'll keep it close. But shout out to to all the celebrity crushes. Shout out to the panel, the committee, for the selections, for putting in the time and effort, for following the seasons of all the whatever, chat. We did it. We made it through the list. It was a great time. We'll be back again later this week. You can subscribe so you don't miss the next live stream. And we're also we're on the social platforms, the podcast platforms at REMINGTOM Pod as well too. So if you're on the internet, at this little search bar, REMINGTOM Pod, you can find, chat, we're even on IMDb. You can find us on IMDb. Make no mistake. There's not a site where the REMINGTOM Pod, you can't find us and give us a little follow if you guys are having a good time. So, like we said, we'll be back later. Don't miss it. Thank you guys for jumping on tonight. And, we should mention as well, too. We don't want to say, I guess, we don't want to say too much, but we just, because there's some fresh news that, we don't know who the people in our lives, like what's been revealed yet. But there's been a passing with a family friend. And make no mistake, chat, like, the man lived a great life. It's an applause. It's a tip of the cap type of ordeal, more so than something to be sad about. But it's always sad when, a loved one passes on to the other time as well too. So, shout out to the family. Like I said, I just don't want to start, of course, dropping too much stuff. But it's a close family friend, and they're probably not even listening. But it's one of those things. You want it out in the air. I just want it out in the air that the REMINGTOM Pod, the thoughts and prayers of the REMINGTOM Pod are with them at this time, and that's a serious statement as well too, for sure. Like, I know they've meant a lot to the people in our lives. So, on to the next chat, on to the next phase. Like we said, it's a tip of the cap. It was a great run, a Hall of Fame run from this guy. So, nothing to be ashamed about whatsoever. But, he's going to be missed. So, anyways, back on, maybe that wasn't needed, but, like we said, we feel like something needed to be said. He deserved a little airspace at the end of the pod for sure. But shout out to the family, shout out to him. And we'll be back next time, chat. Happy vibes, normal vibes. It's a good time on the REMINGTOM Pod. More celebrity crushes, I don't know. But, no, next stream is the Missionary album. What a pivot, chat. What a pivot. But Missionary, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, they have an album coming out this week. We're going to be there live reacting to it. Don't miss it. Be back later this week. So, yeah, thank you guys for jumping on.